We wanted to talk about men's mental health, and I know why that was such a passionate topic.
We have to kind of hide the burden of staying strong and
Showing emotions too much.
Exactly. Some people, be in a conflicting argument with their girlfriend, just sitting there trying to fix the problem. You yourself have all these issues. I actually heard a quote the other day. You're not better than me. You just made it before me.
We get to the big topic, gambling, right?
Started, by the way, because I placed a bet right before I got here. I'm 20. I'm not technically
Go report his account.
Negative. It's going to sound crazy, but God would want me to have this money. Incline me to put this bet in tonight.
I think God would want you to, with that money, give that money to homeless people and donate it.
Of course.
It's a random card. What are some important topics that churches should address but don't? Abraham Lincoln said this quote. They were in a war or something. They were telling God, let's just pray that God is on your side. And then he said, no, let's pray that we're on God's side. We don't have to pray God to come on our side. We need to go where he is because we know where he's standing.
Agreed.
So if you had to give one piece of advice to the world, what would it be?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big. We got Jayden in the house again. Welcome,
yes,
Jayden.
Go,
Jayden.
How you doing?
Thank you for hopping on.
How you doing? Yes, sir.
I'm very excited to have this episode and this conversation with you. We're going to be talking about men's mental health as well as getting into the whole like sports gambling, right? The Christian topics, like one of those topics that you would have a conversation about to understand, is it a sin? Is it something that Christ would want us to do? Is it of God? And these type of things that comes up frequently, especially with, young generation, right, with sports betting and all that kind of stuff. I personally don't know much about it.
Right.
All I know is that the gambling part of it and that kind of stuff. So I'm here to learn from you.
There we go.
As well as have an understanding on whether that is of Christ or not. Because I think what it comes down to is how do we have this conversation with each other? And it has to be with love and the care that what we're doing is God's work, because 100%. That's what we're here. That's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? So I'm so excited. Tell us a little bit about you being a manager of the social media, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I don't think we talked about that last episode.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we just touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my name's Jayden. I work at the Newtown Athletic Club, and I also have a side business where I do a bit of social media managing, stuff like that. Essentially, what I do is I will come out to you. I'll provide you high quality photos and videos. From there, I will download everything into an editing software that I pay for monthly. So I get features that, the generic person wouldn't get for free. And then I go ahead, I make an edit, and I either send it over to you, or most of my clients, I have their usernames and passwords for their social medias. Therefore, I just log in and I can post fluently for them. So there's no issue.
And it's more convenient too, because one, how that space works, the social media management. So when you go in there and posting, you kind of know how it's supposed to look on their page.
It's an algorithm. It's an algorithm, and I think I've touched on that, and I understand it a lot more than just the generic person who wants to post. Right. And so, I've been doing it for like 6-7 months. I love it.
Guys, if you're interested, this is the guy.
Me up.
Contact him. Did that come from Jacob doing something similar? So he was like, "Yo, maybe you should try it," and then
kind of sort of yeah. So like I said, I work at the NAC. So working there, I get a free membership. But my buddy went to a gym near me, so I was like, all right, whatever. I'll buy the membership. It'll probably get me into fitness more, just having somebody to work out with anyway. Sure. So I ended up buying a membership there, and we decided to just record every workout. And from there, after we worked out, we were like, yo, let's just make this like almost like a full-time like afternoon thing.
You and Jacob, right?
Yeah, me and Jacob, we'll go out. Let's go find a bridge with a crazy view and a crazy sunset, and let's just grab B-rolls. Let's go ahead and just grab some clips, because you can turn clips into content like that. Exactly. And as long as you have the power of editing, which I do, you can make it look even prettier, and it just draws eyes and attention to your content. Compared to the average, let me pull out my phone and just record this, because you spend cheap camera you could probably get for $1,000, anywhere up to movie cameras, which are $50,000. So
dude,
I know for a fact that just having a camera and having the drive and passion to do that for people will create success for them and myself. I love it.
Yes, sir. And that's amazing, because we mention this all the time, that people just have such hard time finding something that they love and actually enjoy it, and then start to make money from it too.
100%.
Because then it's not a job. It's just simply what you do, your lifestyle, and then the money comes in because of your work.
Exactly. And what I love to say actually is, if money wasn't an objective, if money was out of the picture, what would you choose to do? What would you want to do for the rest of your life? Or
Something
at least
you
for the
love.
next 30 years? Choose what that is if money was not in the picture. And I'm telling you, somehow, some way, you can make money from it. You can make money from everything. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah, might as well do it for something that you love, right?
It's also the other side of that too. It's like if I ask some people, I'm like, okay, if you had $100 million already, like what would you do like all day? Like if you had to work,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure like you're not gonna sit around and be bored all day.
Right.
Like eventually you're gonna get like really bored and just find your passion. You're gonna
Exactly.
find what you're called to do.
Yep, I love it. That's exactly what I say.
What do
Just
people
take the
answer?
money.
They're just like, oh, travel. Everyone says that.
So just
Everyone
like
says
pretty much
that.
just spending money.
Yeah, like I mean, dude, if everyone had like $100 million, like of course they'd travel, right?
Yeah.
They feel like they're constrained in this like little box, like their little hometown. You know what I mean? So that's like a basic answer. If you traveled the world already, okay, and you had to work, what would you do?
Exactly.
Jayden, you wanted to talk about men's mental health, like
Yeah.
that topic specifically. Can I know why that was such a passionate topic?
Yeah, so for me, just being on social media all the time and, just I'm a male. I live a life of, the man, like an average man. And I know what I deal with and I know what every guy around me deals
Exactly.
with. And, we have to kind of hide the burden of, staying strong and not
showing emotions too much.
Exactly. Not showing emotions and just, if something's affecting us a certain way, we can't really express it like the way we want to. And it's crazy because as like a man, I feel like when you go ahead and approach a situation, like you have a problem or you feel some sort of way about something, you always end up being the problem. You know what I mean? So I can go ahead and like, for instance, if I have a girlfriend, not my specific situation, but some people, could be in a conflicting argument with their girlfriend, and next thing you know, you're listening to your girlfriend as a man should. You hear her out. You're sitting there trying to fix the problem, and then you yourself have all these issues, and you just, all right, I'm done. I have to express this to you. Look, this is how I feel, and then you turn into the problem because now it's your issue, and a lot of people just don't know how to figure that out.
It's like taking care of the other problems and taking care of other people's problems because as a man, that's just kind of what you do. And then you forget or you kind of bury this burden of yours, the problems.
Exactly.
And then, it gets bigger and bigger. And then eventually it leads to, mental problems and stuff, which the social media doesn't help either. You know what I mean? Like the era that we live in now with social media, with people posting type of content like, oh, look what I have in my life.
Yep, it's always
you don't. And
everybody's
you
competing.
At 21, and
everybody's competing,
right.
comparing, and it's not a race. And I actually heard a quote the other day, is something like, "You're not better than me. You just made it before me."
Yeah, it's like everybody has their time, and
God has a plan for everybody. God's timeline for everybody is completely different from mine to yours, and then everybody else in this room. So it's just not my time, but God knows my time. It's just all about the timeline.
What do you think what do you think that problem stems from? Like,
explain. What do you mean?
The whole idea of just men not wanting to express their emotions or go out there and find like-minded people to speak to them and say, hey, I'm actually going through this, I need help.
I think it's just the generic life of a man. You have to be the breadwinner. You have to provide. You have to give a lot more than you can take. And as a man, you just grow up that way. It's not that somebody told you that, and I'm not saying anything negative towards anybody else.
Don't you think that's how it should be?
I think that's how I grew up. That's how I grew up. My dad takes care of us. Obviously my mom's in the picture. She works. I love my parents, but my dad's the one who's headstrong. If there's an issue, I call my dad.
Yeah.
If my tire pops, I call my dad. If somebody passes away and something, obviously I'm going to go to both of my parents, but my dad's going to be like the rock, like the firm, like if I need to cry, like he'll suck it up and, let me cry and not get emotional. Like he'll be strong for me. So I think as the man, you just have a bigger set of pants to fill, dude. It's as simple as that. And I think we could all agree in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's hard for men to express the way they truly feel, and it's just I wish that men, you know, being vulnerable was more accepted, instead of, you know, this guy's a little bitch, or this he can't maintain a positive attitude because he deals with things, but we all deal with things, and there's just always a counter argument because of a guy and the way he feels. And men's mental health to me should be top of the charts, because it's a fact that more men each year commit suicide to themselves. There's more issues, ongoing issues.
Yeah.
And
dude, and it's going up a lot.
Those issues can lead to, you know, problems within you and your family's lives. Like, next thing you know, there's a divorce in the family. Next thing you know, you know, the kids that you chose to have, they didn't choose the life that they live. They're growing up because you made the decision to have them. So I think men's mental health, in order for everything to go as smooth as possible in your lifetime, you have to just be strong, but find somebody that you can be vulnerable with, which would be your partner, your parents, anybody, a friend. You have to be able to have a vulnerable side and let that out in order for, you know.
I definitely want to touch up on that because you being in a relationship and stuff. But before we do that, I think another thing is also just what some influencers or people in general preach on social media with, man, like, yo, you have a problem, fix that. Like, you should be the one that takes care of everything. But yeah, this is kind of whatever you said. Don't you think that's how it should be? Yeah, but then, you know, everybody's a little different, and how you do things in your life at that moment, where if your, you know, spouse is helping you financially, one might look at that as if now you're a nobody because your spouse is helping you, or your girlfriend, you're in a relationship. But then one might look at it, hey, this is healthy. We're here for each other, right? We're helping each other because we love each other. And that is where the understanding, in my opinion, diverges. And that's kind of where people go the route where people like Andrew Tate and all those guys preach and say, yo, you have to be an alpha male. Like, this is your responsibility. This is you.
Crazy too.
It drives people, but then it also gets them on this path that is just like, yo, now I have all this responsibility, and I shouldn't ask for help.
Exactly.
I shouldn't.
Yep.
It's not that you don't want to. You just shouldn't, and it's a weird.
And that
dynamic.
ties into the point that I think I made on the first podcast, where I was like, you are who you hang out with. You are who you surround yourself with. I was so big on that in the first podcast, and it's the truth. You literally are who you hang out with. When you find your significant other, the person you hang out with, you want to spend every day with for the rest of your life, the highs, the lows, it doesn't matter what they provide. It's the fact that you have enough courage and love and just astonishment, essentially, for that person. So, like you just said, it's very important. Essential. It's very important. It's very essential to, you know, not only find the rock, but to have just a group of people or just somebody that, you know, you can go to and be with and get vulnerable with, and it ties back into the beginning of everything.
I think the issue is also with what the new generation does now with their life. You know what I mean? They party, they drink, they smoke, and I think a lot of people really need God for them to like get away with this type of things, because
and find peace, true peace.
Yeah, you tell them, yeah, like, look, these things don't make sense because it doesn't fulfill your life or whatever, right? But it's not as strong. But when you put God in there, then it gives it a strong purpose of why you should stop doing it. And I think that's where everything comes from, honestly, because your lifestyle and what you do throughout your day is just gonna define if you're gonna be depressed or not. This people, yeah, they work all day and everything, but then for their recovery is going and drinking, and that's bringing that's like pressing down the depression. They think it's a relief, but the next day they feel worse.
Yeah, literally.
So I think it's what they do too.
I think when I think about mental health, I don't even think it's like, because I feel like men nowadays are more emotional than anything else. They just don't know how to control it. I think it's a mindset issue. They just don't have the right mindset. They don't know how to really take care of these problems, because problems are going to be for the rest of your life. Like, that's just what life is. You can't escape it. You can't escape responsibility. That's just, responsibility is what gives life meaning, right? So you can't really run away from it. Either. Exactly. So it's like you got to learn how to like tend to your own garden, right? Which is like your mind, like planting those seeds, getting rid of the seeds, getting rid of the plants that are just like messing it up in your garden, whatever it is. And it has to do with like your mindset and your attitude towards life. Because I mean, I remember like when I was suffering, like like in myself, I had like really bad mental health. It really just came down to a perspective. I didn't have perspective. I didn't really have the right mindset, not the right attitude. I didn't have like an open mind to a lot of things. So it just came down to like me just not having the right attitude. I think it is. It's because I feel like the world and social media, I guess, and society had like puts this own mindset on us. It's like, oh, you're a victim. Oh, like you're this. Like it's like telling us like who we should be, right? And like I really do kind of vibe with like people who like with Andrew Tate and stuff like that. Like their mindset about like you're a man. Like you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have X, Y, Z. It's like
they tell you straight up how it is before you get there.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of the times you need to hear the things that you don't want to hear. It's like a friend.
Yeah.
You know, your best friend, when you have a best friend, you have to tell them the things that they don't want to hear, but they need to hear. And at the end of the day, if you guys are, you know, glued and, you know, rock together, then there will be no issue. They'll look at you and be like, wow.
And that's
like
tough
this
love.
man really just cares about me and wants to see me succeed. And exactly like you just said, tough love.
I think it has to do with too. It's like people are lonely. Like we had an episode about like male loneliness because some guy reached out to me about it, and a lot of guys are lonely because they don't have like that group of guys who are just like on the same like level, because everyone's just like in this, oh, it's all about me, it's all about ego, it's all about being selfish, it's all about me feeling good, it's all about pleasure. But like no one's going out there with like, oh, what's your goals, bro? Let's go in the gym, like let's see what we're capable of doing, let's all face this
Pushing
problem
each other
together instead of all running away from the problem together, right?
Yeah.
That's how I
Dude, you know
see it.
what's another thing that I want to also ask you is,
Yeah.
do you think part of that, like I really liked the perspective that you just put in my head with like, you know, people feeling, being more emotional than anything, because I think some people actually don't even know what real struggle actually is.
Yeah, they
I
don't.
feel like, especially in America and stuff, if you grew up in a good neighborhood with, you know, good household that had with money and everything around you, it's very hard for you to really, really understand what real struggle is.
100%.
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
I completely agree.
So, do you think that also comes from people not having a real understanding what struggle is? Therefore, their problems wouldn't really be like, "Oh my God, I'm in such a bad place," when you're really not, bro.
No, yeah. I mean, I just think it falls back. I think it's like the same group of people who feel this like stress and anxiety, because there's a lot of good people, but then there's a shit ton of bad people in the world. And all the people that have been through the hardest of times, the trenches, the dirt, like they literally had to drag their feet. They know what it's about. They know that hurt. They know that pain. They know that suffer. And you have all these people with money who have a good life or decent life. They're not homeless. They're not poor. Their life's not shit. And they're the last ones to go ahead and, you know, give up an offering, give something to somebody in need. And you have the people that are hurt, who have been there before, who are the first people to be like, you know what, I want to help this person overcome this, achieve this, do this, because they know how it feels to be piss poor, rock bottom. Right. They've been there before. And then you have, like I said, all these people that just, they have a good life and they don't want to risk any chance of losing any of that. So the people that are already at rock bottom, it's a shame, because they help all these people and all they want is that help back. And they never ever receive it. They never see it. They never get it. There's no. It's miserable. It's miserable, and I feel for them. And I've never been rock bottom. I mean, I'm 20 years old. I have a good job. You know, I think, you know, my passions go a long way, and I appreciate everything that happens around me. But I'm very much still that guy that wants to help out the guy at rock bottom. I really don't care about the guy at the top, because I know one day I'll be at the top. So to be able to help somebody who's just been through hell and back, that's remarkable to me.
I like that you're humble about it. And if we actually trace back to the first episode, you actually did go through a lot of struggles. Like, it might not be a struggle from a perspective of not money, but like materialistic struggles, but it was a lot of the spiritual and mental
100%.
struggles. So
I had my brother, my cousins, everybody passed away in literally the span of 1 year. My life was crumbled. I didn't know what to do, but, you know, I like to say it is what it is, because those are the people that you have to watch out for, because it is what it is means that you have the perception that life isn't going to stop. Everything's going to keep moving. And when you say stuck on a particular problem, it's only going to make the problem grow and get worse because you're stuck. You can't move forward and progress from that very position. So the second you can go ahead and just understand that life is life, God is a timeline, God is a plan, and it is what it is. It is what it is. You have to move on regardless. And
you can't just be stuck in the mud and not even trying to get out from it.
Exactly. I mean, what's worse than failing is not even trying. And
yeah, exactly.
It's just to be able to just understand that, you know.
And you said this on your story too the other day, saying every single thing has a purpose.
Everything has a purpose.
Everything that happens,
and that just tied up
for a reason.
That conversation tied up to the raise conversation that we had earlier about my job, and just everything happens for a reason. I know for a fact that I'm very like stuck on that and humble about that. I know everything happens for a reason. That's my belief. That's my like in my core, deep down, like.
Because, dude, as a Christian and a follower of Christ, you have that understanding already. When we're filled with His Holy Spirit, we understand that He is the one in charge of our lives. Like, we trust Him. We just have to put in our work and be His followers, and then He leads the way. We just follow. And no matter where you go, you know that He's there with you on that journey, whether that be through hell or
highs and
heaven.
lows.
You know,
God is greater than the highs and
exactly.
lows. That's the next tattoo I'm getting.
What is it? Say it again.
God is greater than the highs and lows. You've seen it before.
Yeah.
It's like kind of generic, but it's just core. It's core.
Were you planning on getting that tattoo?
So I have this one right here, and I was either gonna get it on my leg somewhere, or I was just gonna get it like small right on my wrist.
Yeah.
I want to kind of do like a patchwork sleeve kind of deal, but I want my left arm to be about like faith and like just people like my family, people that are important to me, and then I'll get a little leg patch done when I get older. But I want everything to be important to me. You know, people. I don't want to fill my arm and then there's a spot right here and I just fill it with like a shark because I just need a filler tattoo, right? Like I want everything to mean something to me.
Yeah, that's important.
I think what guys need to learn nowadays is like stoicism, because what you just said with like it is what it is, that's literally stoicism. Like understanding that pain is just pain. Like it's an objective thing, not this subjective thing. Because I think Shakespeare said it. He said, I'm not going to really quote him, but he said something along the lines of, it's our thinking that makes things good or bad. That's it. Like we have a subjective conscious mind that likes to label things and makes things worse than they actually are. That's why
all mental.
Some people who are in like this comfortable position, like their family might have a lot of money, they have food on the table, but they're just eating, like they're just ate up on the inside. They don't know what to do with themselves. They feel like they're suffering. But it's like, how can you like, it's just because of the mindset, like labeling things as good or bad. But if you label things as it just is, this is like a stepping stool, right? This is another staircase to where I'm trying to go.
Progress point. It's literally just, it's motivation.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity to strive and get better. So.
Yeah, and that's a great mindset like other people should adopt.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, if you stay stuck on the problem, it's only going to get bigger. So you might as well move on because it is what it is.
Jayden, you know what I want to ask you? When it comes to problems like this, mental health, or whatever it may be, is we can, I guess, try to address it in a way where it's what can other people do type of thing. But I think when we know the issue it has to start with our circle, ourselves, our friends, our community, and then we expand onto helping more people. So it's like, where do we start with the whole idea of men not being comfortable to talk to each other with their problems? Like, what can we do as individuals to address that problem?
So I think it all just starts with, instead of trying to help somebody else first, you help yourself. If you don't know yourself and if you don't know yourself and can't find yourself, then there's no reason to go ahead and help somebody else out. It's like a relationship. I know we keep going back to that, but if you don't know who you are, how are you supposed to hold the pants up for somebody else who's the other 50% of your life? Literally 50%. It's 50-50 in a relationship. You need both sides. So I think you need to find yourself first. You need to obtain all the knowledge that you can and understand that a part of being a human being and living in the world is vulnerability, emotion, like being emotional.
Being a human.
Being a human. And guys, when's the last time you guys cried? I'm asking. Seriously.
Like full on crying?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you?
Probably months.
Dude, I cried a lot during 75 Hard, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really? Well, 75 Hard. Yeah. This is 75 Hard for a reason.
I was
5
like
months
just completely
back,
breaking down, yeah.
5 months? What about you?
A couple months ago, probably, I would say, yeah.
How about this? Screw the timeline. The fact that you had to think about it is already enough. obviously women have more hormones, they get more emotional. There's a week every single month where they're miserable. You know, their stomachs are getting ripped apart with cramps. And
Do you believe that as a man you have to hold in the emotions sometimes?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I mean, it's just all about being headstrong. You know, it's one day when my son, my child has an issue and they come to me about it. Like I go to my dad about certain things. I need to be the one who's strong. I need to be the one who, you know, holds the fort down. Exactly. Be the rock. I mean, the second you don't have somebody in your life who you can get vulnerable to, or you find as though that it's not okay to be emotional, that could tie into just not having anybody to be emotional to, or to have that comfort, that other side. So
you're just kind of neglecting the human side of you.
Exactly.
Like this natural side of you that is actually like that. Like, for example, Jordan Peterson, he's the guy who gets emotional a lot, even cries on camera with so many people watching.
People relate to that so much more.
Exactly.
They relate to it because they've been there before.
Yeah.
They've been there before. And when they see somebody else doing it in front of, it could be 10 people, it could be in front of 1 million people, their fan base, their audience, it makes them more vulnerable. It's like, oh, well, this guy has 1.2 million followers, 700,000 views on this one podcast, and bang, look, he's bawling his eyes out for 30 minutes. You know what? Maybe I can do it. Maybe I'm not
40 years old.
Maybe I'm not going to get made fun of, or maybe I'm not going to get laughed at. I think it's also a perception about how other people look at you. You're scared to be vulnerable. You're scared to, you know, let out your sad side. You know what I mean?
I don't really think you should cry in front of people, in my opinion. Just because, like, it just, I don't know. Just to me, just seems like
depends what we
can't
call,
control.
like
Jordan Peterson, I really I respect the man, but it's like, but crying, I don't know the context of the situation, but to cry like in front of like everyone, stuff like that, or Logan Paul like on his apologizing video,
right,
like crying his eyes out. It's like, bro, like, what are we doing?
Do you think that's like a you thing though? Like, do you think it's like you're saying you're on the podcast now?
Let me explain
like,
the situation.
That'll
then, bro.
never happen to you. And
what,
you
like to cry on the podcast?
Yeah, and you're like looking at them like, that's corny.
Like if I feel like I'm gonna cry on the podcast, I'm just
walk out.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, okay.
Like I feel like it has nothing to do with other people. It's just like a standard, I guess. It's just like,
then how much can you hold your emotions
how much can
back
you take?
And then reject this authentic side of you that actually wants to put that out
well,
there?
it is an issue. Like if you're just overflowing with all these emotions, like you clearly are not able to like
your mental state.
Your emotional intelligence is lacking in that area. Like you're not able to like regulate.
I don't know if I agree with you on that. You know why?
Why?
Let me explain. When Jordan Peterson cries, and I've seen him cry on the certain topics, he doesn't just cry on anything. He cries about the things that he actually went through and knows, like he said, knows what it's like. This guy comes up on stage in front of thousands of people and gets on the mic and just says, I need help. Somebody help me. This guy's just, you can tell he's like going through stuff, bro.
See, I'd rather cry. I'd rather cry
than
probably like go up on stage and beg for help, like beg for mercy in front of thousands of people.
No, you don't understand. This guy, can you imagine how much pressure you're already feeling and how much struggle you're going through, that you're going in front of thousands of people and asking for help to somebody? Because
it takes courage and strength to do that.
For you to go to Jordan Peterson on his shows like that, it's very hard for you to get to him. One, you have to get VIP tickets and he has security and all that kind of stuff. So what this guy did was he just went up on stage and just, you know, started saying, yo, I need help. I need like
his beg for mercy.
Somebody. Exactly. And Jordan Peterson got up and just gave him a hug and all that. Like he could have just held back and said, I don't even know this guy coming up. I don't know his motives, but he knows what it's like. And Jordan Peterson started crying. In my opinion, when you are on that stage, you can never say whether you would cry in that situation or not. But in Jordan Peterson's shoes, I think he knew what that guy was going through.
He's been there before.
Because he's a psychologist.
He's been there before, yeah.
He knows these stuff. He knows the actual struggle that somebody's going through. And that makes him very emotional because he understands the issues in more depth than a regular person who is sitting behind their computer, has no idea what that's like, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the context because, like, let's just say, I cry or I tear up. Like, if I'm at church for one time, like, it was communion and it was so beautiful. I was tearing up and it wasn't like, no, I'm not gonna cry in front of these people.
I have the same story.
It's just when it comes to that, it's just like no, this is so beautiful. Like, these tears are different than tears of just me like being negative about myself, and like I think it just really just depends on the context, right? Because like I understand, like, okay, now I know the context of that situation, right? Like that makes sense versus just crying about your situation, being a victim, or just like crying to other people because you can't really handle anything. You're not trying to handle anything. You're trying to throw yourself on other people. That I feel like this is like when it can be like a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Because the reason why I wanted to address it is because the way you said that statement, saying I don't know if I would cry on camera or in front of people, or like even what Jordan Peterson does or Logan Paul, just how can he be crying his eyes out? I think it's maybe your understanding that when somebody cries on camera or stuff and it has a lot of audience, it's already from like them just trying to put on a show for other people. But I think it's very important that before we make a statement like, oh, I don't think you should do this or should not, it's that we understand the context of why somebody's crying. Because one, you don't cry for no reason. One, you either cry because you're faking it or it's actually real.
There's
so you
two
better
sides of the
understand.
street.
You better understand like which side it is, than just putting your opinion out there. Because I think it's an important topic. Because if we say that, okay, I'll cry alone, but I wouldn't cry in front of other people, that itself is an advice to people that maybe you shouldn't cry in front of people. You know what I mean? So I just wanted
like
to clear that out. That's all.
It's like an assumption.
What were you crying on 75 Hard? By
Well,
yourself?
I would
What was
cry
the
to
struggles?
God. Like I would like when I would pray sometimes, I would just cry because like if I'm going through something or just
Was
like,
it
I don't know how to deal with
literally
the situation. Like, dude, I can't. I guess I kind of like put a lot of like pressure on my own self, and like I manufactured my own suffering in a sense because I would go in and out of a perspective of, okay, like this is just all I'm doing is just simple tasks every single day. But then I would end up in like a down spiral of like negativity, like, oh, like I'm not keeping up with my YouTube, or I'm not working on anything else. Like I'm late to work, or I'm sleeping. Like there would be like these two sides like where I'm flipping through. And I guess like when I'm on my walks and stuff like that at night, I would just kind of just be talking to God, and sometimes it would get emotional in that type of sense.
Now let me put it into perspective. Jordan Peterson, when he talks to people about this, he's actually like, think about it. He's not all by himself, but when he's talking to the audience, this is the stuff he touches up on. That's why he starts crying. It's like if somebody were to ask you, what were you praying about, and you say the prayer, right now you might start crying without you even like holding it back. Because he just like has shows every single day, talks to people every single day. There's always someone filming him, so that's why it's easy to catch him like getting emotional,
Being vulnerable, exactly.
Like right now, if you were to say the story, I'm not saying you would, but like I
The
wouldn't
chances
doubt
are
that
you would get
you might
emotional.
start crying. You know what I mean? So I think that's the perspective of it.
What was your story in church? You said you got emotional during communion.
Oh yeah, this was just probably 2 months ago, if that. I was at
recent.
I was at CLC, Christian Life Church, in Bensalem, and I went with a couple of my buddies. You know what it was? It was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, when he went to Christian Life Church in Bensalem.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, dude, I went there with a couple of my buddies. It was literally, dude, this man is incredible, dude. Like the way
Charlie
he did,
Kirk?
dude, he's so good. But yeah, man, just to touch back on it. We're sitting there, and right when you get into church, everybody's hanging out. Christian church. The music's loud. It's just powerful. Like you feel it, and they're just singing music about God, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't stop either. I'm talking from the first song to the last song. Like I got my brother next to me, and he's rubbing my back. Like he's just there like, damn, yo. Like I've never seen him like, dude, it hit so hard. It also could have been, I haven't been to church in a little while. And it was like, I know I should be there. And just kind of like reminiscing a little bit. Like maybe I need to just be better.
This Sunday, brother.
So it's hard. I know.
Sunday, let's do it.
I know. I got to be there. I have to be there. But yeah, man, I just got so vulnerable. I started crying. And everybody around me just like with their hand on my shoulder, their hand over my head. And I went, the first time I've ever gone up when they were like, if you need to talk to somebody here and you want to find God after this service, come up. We have a bunch of people that are going to hang out at the front. We'll say a prayer for you. We'll hold your hand. First time I ever walked up, had the courage to walk up in front of the whole church and just sit there, my eyes closed, head down, praying. My hands were so wet, like sweating, because I was so like I've never, like something was, it was like there was an orb over my body. It was just God. Yeah. It was just God, man. It was
So
just
did
God.
you go up there just to kind of put yourself out there?
Well, it really wasn't. I don't even know if I want to say it was for me. Like I think it was. I think it
To
was
also
just,
encourage others. Yeah.
yeah, and I didn't have me being in church. God pushed me to do that. He gave me the courage because there's been plenty of opportunities to do that. And that moment, in that time, that night, it just hit me different. I think his intention was to send me that message. I think I was the guy he wanted to talk to that night. I was there, and that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. I felt,
Dude, that's how it is in church.
I was so happy. And I left, and I just felt like the next day,
Relieved, right? Like it's like,
dude, the next week of work was probably my best week of work. I'm talking most tips. I'm talking like the customers that I dealt with. If I had if somebody gave me an issue, it is what it is. Literally, I just, okay, sorry. How can I help you?
I think he
Customer's
also has
always
to,
right. Like one of those things.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I think also being at, like, it helped me find it out, like more about like my job and like if I like being there. And I had zero complaints after that. And even to this day, I can reflect on that moment like various times because it's just so powerful and it just stuck with me off it, like literally just right away. So
I think it also has to do with Jordan Peterson's character. I mean, he's a very he's very humble from what I see at least, and he's very
passionate about what he talks
exactly,
about.
yeah. He has like a pure heart. Yeah, he has a good heart. So even if someone doesn't go through that specific struggle, and for example, I didn't go through a financial struggle, for example, right? But you did, and you're telling me your story, and I have no idea what it feels like. But I have like that pure heart and understanding, and I have love for others. That could probably be what may make other people emotional too.
100%.
When you get into their shoes.
Yep.
And not everyone can do that because I think it has to do with your heart. To be
exactly,
honest.
and for that other person, they're
not always.
It could just be them being in awe as well. Like if you're going to be there to help them out, like they might have not expected anybody to ever be there for them, and then they have a stranger, somebody they've never met before, willing to like step up to the plate and swing the bat, help them out, take a crack at it,
Exactly. Yep.
So it's powerful. Certain people are meant to be here for a reason, and it's just enough about finding your purpose till you understand that.
And that's what I want to circle back to. I think you have this side of you that is actually emotional, and this is a good thing in my opinion.
I'm a vulnerable guy. I like to be.
You are. You're very honest with your stories. You share this side of you that a lot of people might think, hey, this guy's just emotional about it, but
Literally.
in reality,
Cornball.
They don't have to know that. They don't have to know your story. You know it, and God knows it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like when we are put on this earth with that feeling of, I really want to put this out there in front of people, and not because this guy's going to react good with it.
Yeah, it's not a sob story.
Exactly.
It's not. I'm not asking for clicks. I'm not asking for anybody to do
You're just
anything.
really doing it.
It's more of
because
like
you want it.
Exactly. And I think my struggles or what I deal with, and even if I'm being vulnerable, I think it just inclines other people, that follow me or see my video to do the same. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be emotional. And just because, you're a man and there's specific tasks that, are implemented into our daily lives that we have to figure out to become like just, a valuable man. I don't know. I think it's good to put stuff out there and let other people know that, it's okay to it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. The world will move on. You're going to be okay. And you have more people in your corner than you could even fathom. You know what I mean?
Right. As long as it's not like casual crying and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
for a man, because that's like embarrassing if you ask me.
Oh, I mean, I agree.
We have to. Be
I
real
agree.
with that
I mean,
too.
to cry every day,
casually, just like doing it.
Like, I think if you're a man crying every day, that even anybody, man, female, whatever, I think anybody crying every day is very like emotional.
Something's wrong. Like something's wrong. Clearly, right?
It's like it's not only is it good, it's just like unacceptable. Like not only does nobody like I don't want to be around negative energy 24/7. Even if you're crying happy tears 24/7, I don't even want to be around that. Like I don't need you to cry in front of me 24/7 for me to just understand what you're going through.
Because then it gets awkward.
And I'll be like cool. I'll be there for you if you actually need it. But like that's emotionally draining not only for the listener. Like the consumer, but for you yourself,
as well.
Like you're gonna be miserable. Like the life is not gonna be fun. Like everything's just like everything gets you emotional. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That
circles back to people not having.
But I don't know
control.
anybody. I don't think I know anybody that's just emotional every day, all day.
Yeah, no,
that'd be a sad life, right?
Yeah.
What about like your relationship? How do you balance that with your girlfriend? Like this side of you that just
I
she
mean,
needs to know type of thing.
I
You
think
can't hide that, right?
They say, I don't even know. I think it's more of just the way that I, carry myself and the way that I go about like my daily life. I think the way that she goes about herself and like everything that she does, I think it's just the perfect blend.
How'd you guys meet, by the way?
Dude, I'm 20. I'm about to be 21. I met her at 16 years old. I think I met her at like 15.
15?
Or something
Oh, wow.
like that. It was freshman year of high school. We actually we got put into a Spanish class there was like 55 kids in this class. Biggest class in the school, but only because a teacher just quit. So there was only one Spanish teacher that was going to be able to run whatever. So until they found another Spanish teacher, we were all in the same class.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting here, and I'd be in class, and I'd be talking, I'd be like just checking her out,
Yeah.
like, and she would never look over at me, but I was the weirdo who was just like, yo, like, so I tell all my friends about it, and then eventually the class got split up, and she wasn't in my class. I was pissed, dude. Like I just knew, but I was pissed off, and so I asked one of the closest guys that was in that class to her, because they went to middle school together. I think. I asked him, like, yo, I'm going to need something. Like, I'm going to need a Snapchat, Instagram number. Like, I need some form of communication so I can, like, let this girl know, like, yo, like, you know about me. Yeah. Long story short, we started talking a little bit. We leave class at the same exact time just to walk around together. 9th grade, got nothing. 10th grade, got nothing.
Like meaning you would text her, you would talk to her, but
she was doing her own thing, and I would do my own thing. I mean, at that point, it was not, but she was just doing her own thing. And after 2.5 years of me just being persistent and just, I'm not nagging, I'm not a weirdo like begging for nobody, but
But
Were
then
you guys
when it's
friends at
true
first or
intentions,
what?
we were cool. I wouldn't even say we were friends. It was more of like an acquaintance.
Okay.
So like we just knew of each other. Like I thought she looked so good. Like I just needed to figure this out.
Right.
So 11th grade, 2 years after we met, I was just persistent. And eventually we started hanging out. Hung out like for like 6 months, like on just here and there. And then, on June 5th, 2021.
Good job for remember that.
I know it's June 5th. I asked her to be my girlfriend years ago. And then now this year, June 5th, it'll be 4 years.
let's go. It's amazing, bro.
It all fell into place, but I'm locked in. It's my girl.
Was she always a Christian when she met you?
She stuck with me. Her mom is like insanely crazy. Like she's
Christian
so into.
tell us about like her going to Calvary Chapel too, right?
Yup. She's so into like Christianity. Her mother, and like church every Sunday. Like she signs up for what's it called? Samaritan's Purse. Samaritan's Purse they do at Calvary in December, where you get a shoebox and you get to fill the shoebox and then you send it over. So what we do every single year, we go and we go to like some whatever department, whatever state they send us to. Usually it's Baltimore, and we'll pack shoeboxes all day, 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
We'll pack shoeboxes, and we'll send over just millions and millions of shoeboxes to people that don't get anything, kids that just don't wake up to a Christmas gift, and it just makes their day. But
we did
she's
that this
insane.
year. We got to actually put stuff in the box.
Really? Yeah, I do it every year.
Bring it to the church, and then we would send it to.
Yeah, I do it. I do it every
amazing.
year. I've probably been doing it for like 3 years. But yeah, her mom's insanely like Christian. Like I love it. And she ended up after freshman year. Let me backtrack. After freshman year, she ended up going to Calvary for school. She got switched. It was just a family decision, what was best for her at the time. So she finished out high school there, and then I finished at Pennsbury, and we've been cool ever since. No complaints. We never really argue. I'm blessed. Like, I'm just lucky. Like, I'm literally lucky. Like, I'm the one guy you look at who has a high school sweetheart. Like, I just happen to get lucky.
God's grace, bro.
It is. And, that's, I think I said on the first pod, like, it's me, her, and then we leave space for God. So there's always room for God. And, we're just we're molded. Like we'll definitely it's definitely gonna be my wife for sure.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I'm lucky.
Tell us a little bit more about like the space
Yeah,
in
so
between with God, because I think that's very essential and important.
So I wish we could. I wish we like went to church together, but we just don't with our schedules. The time, like she literally works.
Not even Sundays?
No, she works like literally. She wakes up at the ass crack of dawn, and she's at work till 9 p.m. all day. Most of her hours that she works is on the weekend. And because she goes to school, she goes to Cairn University, which is a Christian college.
Nice.
In Pendle. So, yeah, I mean.
What do Christian college like offers in terms of?
It's
is
more.
their curriculum a little bit different than?
Yes,
college,
the curriculum's a little bit different. It's more of, it's the same deal. You're going to college still, but you're forced to take religion classes. Like if
It's a must.
yeah, like if there's 5 classes in a semester, I don't know. I don't go to college. I'm not a college guy. But if there's 5 classes in a semester, 4 of them will be her academic classes or whatever she's going to do or whatever she wants to be. For instance, she wants to be an art teacher.
Yeah.
So 4 of those classes will relate to her major. And then there's going to have to be one where it's like Bible or
That's tough.
something. You know what I'm talking about.
That's
so.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Because
dude,
Bible is a must. I think everybody should read it.
yeah, but the space for God, I mean, I think it's just like a given. Like it was almost just like just what's happening. Like I think everybody should have that regardless, even with just like regular relationships, like friendships, etc., family. Just always leave space for God because
What does that
you always
leaving
need him.
space for God like
It's-
kind of
Like what does it mean?
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like. How do I, like, if this is her and this is me or this is 2 people, leaving space for God, essentially, like, I guess I'll put it into perspective. If you're having an argument with your significant other, having that space for God in the middle is almost like the common ground. Like, instead of coming at each other's necks, ripping each other apart, you don't hear me, I don't hear you, you know what God would want. He wants us to solve it. He wants us to figure it out. Let's backtrack. Let's take a deep breath. Let's relax.
pray together.
Literally, let's pray together. Let's talk in 5 minutes. Take your 5 minutes. Talk to God. Talk to yourself. Figure it out. Take a deep breath because you're not as mad as you really are. You're just pissed off right now. And then in 5 minutes, let's come back to the conversation. Let's talk about it. And then bang.
Yeah.
Just like that, you didn't even realize that you just saved yourself 4 hours of just
Dude, it is like that.
bitching and moaning and this is with everything. This is just with everything. So even with friendships, like I do the same thing with friendships. Like if me and my boy are beefing, like just chill out, give me 5 minutes to breathe, give me my space, get out of my face, and let's come back to this conversation in a minute. Go ahead. I'll have my brief moment with God. Yo, God, I need your help. This isn't what you want.
And
This
dude,
is
he
not what
answers
I
too.
want. And bang, just like that, a 4-hour conversation turns into a 5-minute, let's finish this argument, let's shake hands, let's walk away, and let's do our thing.
Exactly. Because I think it's our human nature that sometimes we want to prove our point and we want to prove that, oh, I'm right, or that, you're not understanding me. And then we fall into, the same state that we think they don't understand us, but it's the same
It's
concept
just a
with them.
pattern,
So we have
dude.
to
Yeah, literally.
really like take that space and really spend time with God and say, you know my heart, you know her heart, you know where we're at, you know what we need help with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't.
Exactly.
And then I want you to just guide us, be with us, because
100%.
you're asking for it.
Yeah.
And he delivers. If you don't want that, then you're not leaving space for God. Essentially, you're just trying to solve your own problems with your human understanding, which is it's very hard.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro. Should we get to the big topic, gambling, right? Sports betting.
Sure. Yeah, we can get into sports
First of all,
betting.
do you think
this all
it's,
started, by the way, because I placed a bet right before I got here, and I, whatever. But
well, it started way before.
of course,
that.
I mean, I've been sports betting, but
I actually didn't know you did.
So-
because when we first met you,
I'm 20. I'm not technically I'm 20. No. I
You already said your age, bro.
I have an app. It's all set up perfect. I'm essentially buying coins, which converts
Go
into
report
cash.
his account.
Negative. That's why I block. Every time I post on my story, when I have a lock, like I know it's gonna hit, I know a lot of people are gonna slide up. I'll literally I'll censor my pick ID.
but how much do you really know, right?
I mean, you only know so much. I mean, you could have, like, for instance, the Celtics were minus 610 the other week in a game, meaning they were going to win. There was a shot in the dark that this other team would win. They smoked them. I lost all my money, just like that.
Wait, when it's in the negatives, that means that team is more likely to lose. Well,
exactly. So if I'm, I don't know how to explain it. Like minus 115. If I put $100 on a minus 115 money line bet, which is a straight bet, it's just if they win or lose. If they win, you win 187.15 or something like 187.50. So depending,
you know how to do the math too, even know the numbers.
Exactly. The lower, so essentially the negative is the favorite. If you're plus, you lose. I won $1,000 off Ryan Garcia when he fought Devin Haney. I called him at plus 700. So I put just a few $100 on it, and dude, I smacked so hard. It was the best night of my life.
So would you consider that sport betting a gambling or no?
Oh, yeah, of course it's gambling. Of course it's like I'm going to the casino. I'm just doing it online because I can't go to the casino.
It's a gamble, bro.
It's like it's a sports book. So instead of spinning the wheel and hoping I put money on 14 and it lands on 14, or I'm playing blackjack and I get a 20 and the dealer smacks a 21 and I lose, it's sports. I'm betting on the sports game. Who's going to win? Player props. Who's going to score what? How many rebounds is Jokic going to have? How many touchdowns is Saquon going to rush today? Is Jalen Hurts going to have an anytime touchdown? Is he going to throw for plus 250 passing yards? Is this basketball game going to hit the over or under 150? So it's literally a job. It's literally a full-time job where you have to maintain, like not evidence, and you have to literally read the game and know you have to literally just call what's going to happen. So, but it's so hard because you do.
But don't you think that's like being caught up in the world?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's just what it is. Like everybody watches sports. You just choose to gamble or not. I don't think,
Because I also know people that literally cannot enjoy sports as much because they've said it. They said it themselves.
Well,
if
you
they
put
don't
$5 on a game you don't care about. Now it's fucking interesting, right? Now
yeah,
you want to watch it.
They can't enjoy the game unless they gamble, unless they put money on it.
I'm not that deep, dude. I have a job. Like,
let's get to a big question and then kind of work our way. Is gambling a sin as a Christian? And if we want to get before that question, what does a true Christian mean to you?
I mean, a true Christian to me is, obviously a follower of Jesus Christ. I think somebody that just, walks around with all the right morals. You see somebody who's less fortunate and your first instinct isn't to just, put shame on their name or talk negatively about them. You just have a positive outlook on everything, and everything that you do or choose to do, you put God first. For instance, this is going to sound crazy, but like when I'm putting my sports bet in, I'm thinking about God like, like God would want me to have this money. God wants me to win this 150. He inclined me to put this bet in tonight. For instance, this sports bet that I have tonight, USA versus Canada, this will come out after the game. I have Canada money line. There you go. You guys got it for free. Canada money line. They're gonna win tonight, and I'm gonna make profit. I'm gonna make money. I know it's a lock. Hopefully, I don't look back on this pod and laugh at myself when USA wins. But I think Canada's gonna win. I think God wants me to have that money, and that's why He inclined me
God would want you to with that
put
money.
That in the account.
Listen. I think God would want you to give that money to homeless people and donate it than to bet on it.
No, of course. It's definitely.
I think that's what
it comes with selfishness. like this. Like if I lose this money, like I'm gonna forget about it, but somebody else could have used this money way more than me.
So then why are you doing it?
But
if you have that understanding,
because I don't think about it, I guess.
You're not to the point where you're financially like, I need to do something.
No,
exactly.
that's
so why are you doing
sports betting to me is just fun. It's just literally something that I know. I watch sports all the time. I grew up watching sports my whole entire life, and why not create money through an app? And this is what I tied back on a little bit earlier before the pod when I said that I kind of do it like for a side hustle. I don't sports bet to put money in my own pocket necessarily.
But that's what you do?
I mean, of course, I have to place the bet to post the bet. But my intention behind it is I can make everybody else money too. Because when I go ahead and I put $500 on a bet, and I know, you can't know anything is a fact until it's done. But I'm almost positive that this is going to hit. So I'll post it up on my story, say $10. Whoever wants this bet can have it. You put whatever amount of money you want on it, and then bang, just like that, everybody's balling. Everybody's making money.
Okay,
But think about how many people you're getting trapped into gambling. You might not be.
Of course. I mean, like I said, I don't.
You're literally contributing into that. I want you to really
Oh, I
think
know.
about this.
I know. I don't publicly condone it, but you're right. I mean,
Dude, if
you
you
can't
know,
just
then
why
why-
not publicly condone
so
it?
Weird.
because I mean, I do it. I do it. So why go out and say, "Yo, gamble, gamble, gamble"? I mean, if you want the bet, here's your opportunity to take it. But I'm not going to condone you to go. I'm not going
That
to
means
force
it's
you
not,
to take it.
Okay, let me ask you a more
Nothing's
simple
forceful.
question.
It's literally
Would
an
you-
opportunity for you to go ahead and take this and run with it if you want.
Would you go out there and if you had to preach one message, would you preach the gospel?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'd preach the gospel over a billion other things in the world.
Right. Now, would you go and talk to people about why they should gamble?
I wouldn't
As
necessarily go out. No,
Exactly.
not nearly. No, and
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily go out and tell people why they should gamble. But you know, there's two sides of the street, so there's always positive and negative. So all it takes is one. All it takes is one big smack to walk away and never work another day in your life. But you will lose. Literally, I'm telling you right now, you will lose more money than you will make, and that is a fact. That's why I don't sit there and place just $5 bets I think honestly that's what I should do. I think it'd be better to, you know, place super small bets that I know is going to win so I can go ahead and pay for my next thing, and use the money like properly instead of just putting money up for people to just, if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose it. But I only ever gamble with money that I'm okay with losing.
The reason why I ask that question is because when we have an understanding on things that are of Christ and things that are of God, and then there's things that are just like we do it for our own selfishness,
Yeah.
and for the cause of gaining more money, but it's not something that we would give advice on.
No, of course not.
This just shows that whatever you're doing, you know, is wrong. That's why you don't want to put it out there.
Correct. And I mean,
That
like,
means it's not the type of message that
right.
needs
And
to go to
me
people.
sitting here saying like, oh, I think God wants me to win this money. Like, that's obviously BS. Like,
I was gonna say, I think that's very
Yeah, no, of course not. But it's just, you know, when I sports bet, I'm not really thinking about like just like God right then and there and how this money could be.
Do you
put
think
to
you
good
should be?
use. I think I should. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's good to bet in general. So I shouldn't sports bet regardless, but I do, and it is what it is.
My hope
See-
is you stop betting when we have this conversation, and that slowly God can, you know, help you to give you that understanding.
100%. I don't think it's a
Then
bad thing.
You
though.
should
Like, I don't.
just completely stop doing it. Here's why I think that. Right?
Go ahead, yeah.
You're a bright gentleman. I can see it. I can see how much work you can do and influence people in a very positive way without, you know, you placing bets.
Oh, of course.
Yourself,
Yeah.
and then putting it on your social media
It's, like,
saying,
fun
if
for
you
me.
want to win something,
It's more of like a
Do
hobby,
it.
I guess. Like, I just enjoy it. Like, I
Right.
enjoy it.
But here's the thing.
Okay, that's what OnlyFans girls say. It's a hobby. I like what I do. I mean, is that a good thing?
I mean, I'm not.
No. Let's.
There's so many differences though. Like, I can go ahead and, you know,
No,
when you think
yeah.
about, you're not even supposed to technically have intercourse before you're married. So for me to be 17, 18, 19 and
But you're
posting
also
naked
not
pictures
supposed
of
to
myself for the world to
disvalue
buy,
money.
what they're doing is they're doing essentially, yes, they're doing exactly what it is to gamble. Like, you're selling something to make an income. When I gamble, I'm putting up a bet that I know, like, obviously it's my money, so I'm gonna put a bet that's gonna hit, but you're not gonna get it for free. Like, I'll put it on. It's like a side hustle. I enjoy it.
Yeah, for
it's
them it's a side
entertaining for
hustle.
me.
They're making money and then they retire.
I
But
love
who
sports.
cares about that?
I guess
mean,
you're
they're-
right. Yeah, but
they're like all over the internet, dude. Like once they're and then their life career is ruined, right? And obviously, it's not as close as like what you're doing. What I'm trying to put this in a perspective of what you're doing is you're getting some people to be trapped in that gambling because look, quick money. They're gonna make 100K and they're gonna think they're set for life, and then they're gonna go in more and more. And dude, like God knows, their life might be destroyed.
Mm-hmm. I
So
mean,
you're like think about it. You're kind of
You're unintentionally promoting it.
exactly.
exactly, but it all ties back into
Just
I'm
don't
not.
do it.
It's not. You're right. Don't
If you-
smoke.
if you
don't drink
believe-
coffee. Stay
'Cause
away
I
from
know
caffeine.
you do. I know
if
you do.
everything was that easy, everybody would be able to do whatever they want.
See, but
Things are
caffeine
not
is a
supposed to be
completely
easy though.
Right.
That's
I'm not
the point.
addicted to gambling. I'm not I haven't lost thousands and thousands. I do it because I like watching sports. It's fun and
Dude, I love
entertaining to
watching
win a
sports
couple
too.
bucks.
I've been watching sports my whole life.
I love
But-
money. How about that?
So it's like
I love
Yeah,
money.
that's what it is.
I'm money hungry. whatever I can make a side business and get my feet wet in, I want to do it. So when I go ahead and post a sports bet on my Instagram and say $10 for this lock,
Do you think it's good having that love of money?
I don't.
Because let's go back to scripture,
I do.
right?
I think it's great to love money and all that stuff. But I don't think the way you look at somebody should be based off the amount of money they make. For instance, like if my wife isn't making as much, I'm not going to look at her sideways. I'm not going to look at her crooked. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's just
because that's just disvaluing somebody because of the materialistic position.
I know money can be. People say money doesn't buy happiness, but in my opinion, if I handed you $1 million right now, would you be upset?
No, but
how happy would you be?
Here's the thing: that's how do you hear that quote?
Well, like money doesn't buy happiness. I think the quote itself is intended to have a way deeper meaning. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
When it comes to your faith and the way you walk on life and your family and stuff like that. Like, if you just take it with a grain of salt, it's more of just.
It's like, which one would you rather do?
Essentially, correct. Yeah.
How about this? Would you make? Okay, I'm giving you. You got to choose though. You got to choose.
Okay.
Make quick money. So like you gamble and you make $1 million. That's you retire, or for rest of your life, you have to work and you make $20, right? $20 every single day, but you're doing righteous life. God is like essentially what the followers were doing, right? They weren't making much money. They weren't living like the Romans and the Pharisees, but they were living what God wanted them to do. Which one would you choose? Would you gamble or would you work for $20? Let's just put that in like.
It's hard for me to answer that because the way that
knowing that this is God's path and this is like the devil's advocate, you're doing devil's work.
Sort of. I mean, for me, there's jobs like gambling is like any other job out there. There's literally headquarters and people that sit there, do sports analysis, and they go. It's the sports book. People who work for the sports book, Vegas. They'll sit there. They'll go through all the analytics of where the money is, what percentage of people are going to be betting on this game, the profit of how much people would make on this game, and then they put out the stats. So it's a real job. It's a 9 to 5. People do this for a living.
I know.
Dude, yes, they call a lot of things real jobs, but it's not any good to the world.
Yeah, but
what I'm trying to tell you,
even if I'm not promoting it though.
Which one?
What if I'm not even if I'm not promoting it and I'm just doing it as a regular job, it'd be like any other job.
So you would rather hold up. So you would rather do that and not do the God's work by helping people out more than just you gambling, watching sports and just making money quick cash.
I would put God in either job because for me, I just see it as another job. I don't necessarily not necessarily putting the bet in on my phone. But if I'm working for a sports book and my hours are 9 to 5 and I'm literally just doing sports analytics, it's like the same thing as, if I go to Fricker and Fricker's whipping me up an omelet or something or whatever he's doing, like, it's just you're just doing your job.
You know what came to my mind?
Help us out
as you said that. And dude, this is coming from a good heart. I promise you.
This is what I'm here for. This is what it's all about.
I really appreciate the fact that you're engaging in a conversation like that.
I would love it.
It's because it's honesty, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One thing that came to my mind is Cliff mentioned this. Abraham Lincoln said this quote, and what happens is they were in a war or something, and they were telling him, "Let's just pray that God is on your side," and then he said, "No, let's pray that we're on God's side," right? Now, it's good when you're working 9 to 5, let's say selling drugs, and you're saying, "God, please help me with it. I really need it. My family's hungry."
9 to 5, a trap isn't a 9 to 5 though. That's a side hustle. That's like a.
But let's just put that in perspective. Say people who are there, they're doing that type of stuff, and just saying, "God, please help me," like whatever it may be, or even if it's a side hustle and saying, "God, like please help me with this money. I really need it." And I'm talking to a person who is struggling and just has no money and that type of stuff, and just really needs that quick buck, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, "God, help me," and stuff. Are they asking for God to do what they want, but not doing what God wants them to do? That's when it gets tricky. That's what the quote means. Is we don't have to pray that God is got to help us and got to come on our side. We need to go where He is because we know where He's standing.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's like I think we have that discernment as Christians and understanding where God is standing. We might want God to come on our side to make us feel better, but we know really, really well where God is standing, and it's like the choice that we're making. Do we go to Him? And it's harder. It's
and
so
we
much
justify
harder,
it. We justify sometimes.
Then, saying, "Hey, God would want this for me
Right.
because I'm glorifying him. But are you really glorifying him, or are you glorifying the devil? Like, it's sometimes it is as deep as I really said it, because I think you're either walking on God's path and you're with him, or you are thinking that you're on God's path, but in reality,
really not.
that's the devil's hook.
Right. Yeah.
In my opinion, that's how I would look at it. What do you think?
When it comes to gambling,
Yeah, just what do you think
It's-
about the whole?
It's a completely
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unhealthy
Talking about.
habit. I know this, but I don't necessarily. I don't think it's doing
You're
the
not
devil's
looking at it
work.
as deep as we said it.
I'm not. I don't think gambling is doing the devil's work. I know it's unhealthy. It's not a great habit, but it's
Okay, is
All
it God's work then? Like, is it like, how do I say it? Is it something God would approve of you doing it?
The bracelet. What would
'Cause then-
Jesus do?
Because then if it's not, then it's devils. Because it's not like, oh, it's nothing. Like atheists say. Like
Right,
nothing.
right.
It's not. It's either this or that.
right. It's
And
either
dude,
good or bad.
And dude, you're not the only one. I promise you. Here's the thing, though. There's simple things like, let's say in my business, right? Like, I'm struggling and I want to make money, right? Do I tell my customer something honestly, or do I just kind of sink my way into it and say
Right.
just to make quick money? And that bothers my consciousness, and I think that comes from the Holy Spirit in us.
Take the quick ready.
And-
think about it without like
And
the quick
it's hard
money
to
aspect.
choose that type of path when you know that, like, what the scripture says, what Jesus is telling us about these type of behaviors, and knowing that that's a fear of God. Like, yo, God knows my heart, what I'm doing, and I'm committing a sin, and I'm choosing it consciously too. When you have that realization point, you can't hide away from it.
Right.
I think ignorance, like when
Ignorance is
you're ignorant about
bliss.
it, when you're ignorant about it, and you're saying, like, I really didn't know, and you realize later on, that's a whole different feeling than you knowing what you're doing and you're still doing it.
No, 100%. It's
know what I
literally
mean?
the quote: "Ignorance is bliss." I mean, you almost know the answer,
Right.
but you just don't want to agree with it. You don't want to tell yourself like, "Oh, like it's the truth," and I just have to
Exactly.
accept it. Ignorance is bliss.
well, I think even when we say like gambling's bad, gambling's good, we gotta like state why. Like, we can't just say, oh, it's not God's work, it is God's work. Like, why is this? If God says, okay, don't have sex before marriage, okay, why does God say this, and why does this make sense? Like, I feel like we have to get to the bottom of that before even going into just saying, you mean, because God said so. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
can you guys explain to
Well,
him like
what
why you think like gambling is bad? Because I feel like you guys didn't really explain it.
Yeah, exactly. I will. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you gamble, let's say it's between me and you, just to put it simply.
Mm-hmm.
I'm betting money on one team, you're putting bet on the other team.
Mm-hmm.
When I win, does that mean that I take the money that you just lost?
Correct.
So the money that you bet,
Like
$5,
if it's a bet between me and
Yeah.
you, if I put a $5 bet
Yeah.
up to
and
win,
I put 5.
ready. Let's talk about it as like one person. Like if I put up $5 on this app, and the payout is 10, if the team that I pressed on wins, then I win $5 and I get my 5 back. Now, if it was a bet between me and you, and let's say, yo, whoever eats this strawberry and this strawberry, whoever eats the strawberry first gets $5. If you eat it faster than me, you're giving you $5.
Right. So no,
It's
I
like
just
it-
wanted to put that
No,
in
it's-
perspective because
right.
when I think about that same example, which is a good argument that people bring up, is saying, okay, but they know that they're doing it. They're doing
Mm-hmm.
it out of free will. They're doing it out of choice. So you're not really, forcing them to do anything, or like, sure.
That's what I said from the beginning.
But-
It's nothing that I do when it comes to
But
sports
then
betting.
I
is
believe
forced in
that
any
there
way,
are
shape,
some
or
things
form.
that are unintentional promotion. Meaning
Agree.
You partaking
Me putting it
in
on my
something-
story and saying, "Pay me $10
No,
if you
forget
want
about
this."
story. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna take it a step further. You not promoting it all. You're just in your room doing it.
Right.
That's you partaking in something that other people are also part of, and that's what makes the money. If there was nobody that bet on,
It's a business.
It's a business. It really is. Same with pornography, right? If nobody watched pornography,
It wouldn't
would not
be
exist.
dead. Exactly.
So when you
Same with
partake
crypto
in,
and stock market and stuff.
same with those
That's
stuff.
and that's when I come tie back to it's any other job. It's a generic job. It's anything else, and you can actually get like you can create a future out of it, which I don't. I just do it because I think it's fun.
But that's exactly what I'm saying is when
So it
you
is
look at it
selfish
from
a
that
bit.
standpoint that you are now partaking in such thing, which is you're partaking in a sin. Now you are also part of where that industry is, type of thing. That means you're stepping into that consciously and knowingly that you're there because you understand that it's not a good thing. Why would I bet? I understand that it can be an addiction, all this kind of stuff. You have an understanding.
The only
But it
reason I
also
think it's
looks
a
like that
bad
you're trying
thing,
to justify it.
right? 100%. And I guess it's just.
And I appreciate the honesty.
Of
but
course,
I, don't know,
I really
like,
just
why
think
you
it's
would.
maybe I just don't see it through all the way you like. This is a source of income that could be a 9-to-5 job. Anybody can do it, and it's not like it's like illegal. Like obviously, like I'm not saying OnlyFans is illegal or pornography is not, but it's just it. You know what's good and what's bad and what's worse than what's not than other things. But when it comes to sports betting, I do condone it a little bit. I post it on my story saying, hey, if you want to buy this, or anywhere, hey, I go to work. Hey, you want to put in money and let's double this profit so that we can both walk away with more. It's not a healthy habit, but I don't necessarily think I'm doing a disservice to God because I really just don't see it that way. I don't know if it's just, maybe it's just my perception.
No,
I really just don't see it. I'm trying so hard right now and I just don't see it that way. I know it's not good for a fact. I just don't see it as devil's work.
I'm trying
That's how I see it.
I'm trying to put it like in another perspective too, because like let's say like me and Georgie were racing and me and him put $5 in. It's like, okay, winner of this race gets $10.
It's just a friendly bet.
Is that gambling? Like, is that considered gambling?
Yes, it's considered gambling. It's a friendly bet.
Playing with you're disvaluing
Playing with
money,
money.
that you work for. Realistically, you're supposed to make money off of like work, right?
Yeah, hard work.
Exactly, hard work and you make money. It's like for whatever time you put in, you like
Second Thessalonians 3:10-12 says, "Earn a living by honest work and effort."
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jesus Christ did.
Yep.
So are you making with work and honest?
All the money that I make comes 99.9% of the money that I make comes through my hard work and waking up at 7 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, and some Saturdays, and going to work. Yes.
No,
and
but
then
the extra money that you're making
the
sports,
the extra
from
money that
business.
I make. So I don't use my own money to gamble.
What do you mean?
I don't use my own money to gamble. So what I
teach
do
us about that.
So what
Because you even said
so it's like
putting
a
no
side
money
business.
down,
It's
free
literally
thing.
just a side
Tell us
business
about
that is a source of income. So what I do is people think that all this money comes out of my pocket. I'm blowing the whole thing up. People think that this money comes out of my pocket, and it doesn't. It doesn't. I put out a bet doing analysis on sports because I love to watch sports. I pick a bet that, I mean, nothing is a guarantee, like I said earlier. I pick a bet that I have done research on and think is going to hit. I put money only that I've been sent to send out picks. Hey, if you want my knowledge, people are paying for knowledge, and they can go ahead and do what they want with their money. That's why I'm saying I don't really condone it, because I understand what you're saying, as in I do, but it's the money they're paying for my knowledge. Once they send me their money, I send them my knowledge, which happens to be on a screenshot, and I send it to them, and then that's it. That's what they paid for. They didn't pay to sit there and sports bet with me. They paid for the knowledge that I gave them, and the money that I get paid is going to go towards the bet.
Well, I have a friend who did the stock markets and stuff, and he told me that people who have businesses where they pretty much have a community.
Do you think stock is devil's work? Like in the stock market? Like
Dude,
if I put money
I don't really
if
know
I
about
put
stock market.
if I put money into Bitcoin, you think that's devil's work?
They could rug you like meme coins. They could just rug you whenever.
Of course, yeah. But it's just like sports betting.
Dude,
it's the
this
same
is-
I
exact
don't know how
thing.
it works, so I can't talk.
Yeah,
I know how gambling works. So.
Yeah, it's literally like long term.
Dude,
like,
I thought about this, and I know some people who do stock markets, all that kind of stuff, and they say, "Yo, I'm gonna dedicate my life into learning how the algorithm
it's
works."
literally all the
But-
analysis behind it.
But I do not look at it like that. I think this is how I see it, right? I think there's this top percent, this 1 or 0.1% of people who are actually making money from it. Everybody else, they're just this little rats thinking they got something, but in reality,
It's
they
the
don't have
people who
anything.
started early that did all the
This is
research before
what I
everybody else. The people today that went in 2010, 2011, and they sat there and was like, damn, in 10 years, this could be a form of currency. And now the people that put 100,000 in it years ago, over a decade ago, are the people that will never, ever, ever step inside of a workplace and do any sort of labor ever
Dude,
again.
when Bitcoin first came out, if you were to put 20K down, you would be a millionaire.
Rich,
Billionaire.
rich, like
So,
filthy.
To put this in perspective, And I would like to have a conversation with somebody, whoever's interested, because I don't really know a lot about stock markets as somebody else.
I'm not too big in it.
Or sports betting and stuff. But when I look at it from a very simplistic standpoint, and I know that people's intentions when they do this, most of the times, if not always, is desperation out of quick money.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a skill, then why is there such high risk involved into it? Because when you have a skill, like an actual skill, I think the risk goes down. But when it comes to stock markets, sports betting, is one. And here's the thing too, when they know that so many people are betting, they can rig the games. That's another thing. And then it takes you into
you can't
really
rig a game, but I think
anything.
Vegas, you can't rig a game, but Vegas is Vegas for a reason. The sportsbook is the sportsbook for a reason, and they know things that you would never know. Like if a team that you look at is projected to win, and you've seen this team all season, and you know how good they are, but the sportsbook somehow has them plus whatever, plus 200 against a team that's just not as good, and you know for a fact based off your analysis, your data research, everything, then
for Eagles and Chiefs, who was the underdog?
The Eagles. Like
Chiefs who was the favorite to win?
So 2 weeks before the Eagles game, the Eagles were plus, so they were the underdog.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure it was like scraping dead even, like almost like a minus 120 each or something like that. Matter of fact.
Wait, they were both minus? No, the one had to be plus, right?
Well, two teams can be it's the way that the world.
Really?
It's just how they bet.
Time hearing it.
It's just how people bet. But I can actually I can actually tell you right now.
What happened is, Mike, when we were watching a Super Bowl, one of our friend just takes out the phone and just puts it down and just is watching how many people are betting what. And there are people, and dude, I'm telling you, have you seen one of those live chats of streamers just
being like flooded?
Flooded?
Yeah.
That's how it was, dude. And just to put it in perspective on how many people do these stuff, it's just like it makes you question things, right? Either they're very smart and I'm not into this, or that I should really partake in something like this. Because here's the thing, though, if it makes you money and it's a good side hustle, put me on, right?
Right.
But it's like there has to be something on the other side that I would question myself on, saying, why would I partake in this? And my biggest question as a Christian, ever since I really devoted my life, is what would Jesus do? Is that what Jesus would want me to do? Is a big question that we need to ask.
Because then he would have them, dude. He was God. He could have his followers rich, and the bad people with their morals. They didn't have morals. He could have had them. Being like the downgrade, and they would have been the rulers, right? He didn't do that. There was a reason why to that, and you have to
I don't think Jesus was a carpenter for no reason, nor he was poor for no reason. I don't think he was poor to, show people just didn't want to be in power or anything like that. Like, dude, he owns the world.
Mm-hmm.
What would be? It wouldn't even be power if he was a Roman leader. It really wouldn't, because he owns the world. I think he came down, and when we say that Jesus was an example, he wasn't just example as morally, but I think he was an example on what he did. This doesn't mean that me and you have to be a carpenter, but it would better be for me to be a carpenter than have millions of dollars from doing bad things and not of Christ. I think that's where the Bible gets at.
I think the way I see it is, if the only way I could see myself following, the devil's path essentially, is if I was going out of my way to condone people to promote you have to sports bet, you have to gamble. I'm doing people a disservice and myself. But when I'm doing it for just fun, for me, I'm not sitting here forcing it on anybody. It's like posting anything on social media. You just do it to do it.
But that's what
you guys see it like that?
Doesn't do it he doesn't make it obvious. He goes he literally he literally whispers into people's ears, making them do some things that are not of God. I mean, so it's in a sense you can think of it I'm not going out there and saying, yo, this is what you should do. In a way, you're doing it in a way that it's unintentional.
Sure.
So you
I understand. I mean, I can't not understand what you're saying.
It doesn't have to be obvious, but at the same time, I just feel like it's. I mean, it can't be
I think it's not great, and I think it's an unhealthy habit, but I don't think it's I don't think it's dirty work. I don't think that my perception, or not other people's perception, or even God's perception of me will change due to something that
God's perception has to change yours.
Well, no, of course it'll change mine, but I just don't see myself doing the dirty work. I don't really know how to explain it.
Do you think it would be an interesting question we can ask the pastors? I think they would probably know more.
Yeah.
So we could, because here's the thing though, like I said, I don't know anything about gambling if I had to put it on a level of somebody who actually knows gambling and just kept up with it. But I'm really looking at it from a simplistic standpoint on Bible and then this work where like
100%.
Just looking at what
and
this leads to and
I
then
agree.
Where the Bible leads to, and there's like, dude, no comparison at all. And I'll be honest, I would be doing it because it makes quick money, and I'll be honest, I want to have a good life. I want to have a successful life. I really want to be financially free, but I also have a standard.
The healthy way. You want to do it the right way.
That I would
God's
rather
way.
be poor than have the money if it comes to
And dude,
choosing that
tell
path.
people, they're like,
that's just, I'm willing to live
stupid.
that life.
What are you talking about? But dude, let's be honest. Do I care what those people think, or what do I care about what God thinks of me?
Of course, you're gonna care about what the Lord thinks about you.
Exactly. So,
Mike, what were you gonna say?
Because I think I'm trying to like really break this down to like actually think about, okay, you're gambling money, right? Is it the same thing as me gambling 3 cows back in the day, right? If like someone puts in a cow, the other person puts in a cow, it's like, okay, let's race. Whoever wins the race gets 2 cows, right? Is that like a sin? Is that like wrong to do?
That is a gambling itself. What
Like
do you think?
if 2 people intentionally put something in.
it's like, okay, when you believe that God gives you things, and like He blesses you with that, He blessed those people with a cow. It's not for them to just take it and like throw it out like it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
God blesses.
Well,
each
not
and
throwing it
every
out like
one
it's
of us
nothing.
with a dollar bill, or even a penny. It doesn't matter. Now we're taking this money. We're like, yeah, let's gamble. Like, I don't care if I lose it. Think of it in that perspective where it's very serious. If you believe as a Christian, and even if you're not a Christian, it's a human being. If you believe that God gives you things because He loves you and He blesses you, then you better like take care of that and not just like gamble and be like, well, if I lose, I lose. I get it, but it's only $1. Who cares? But dude, God gave you that $1, and He didn't give it to the homeless guy. He gave you for you to go and give it to them.
100%. No, dude, I'm laughing because I hear it. Like I understand what you're saying.
Like,
I mean, it's true. There's truth behind everything you're saying.
Mike,
you got
Go
this like locked though. Like you're very set on. I just don't see it that way. Straight up. I just don't see it that way.
I think it also comes from
it's unintentional.
where
It could
you
be.
grew up.
It's because it's just unintentional. I'm literally not like I don't see myself doing a disservice. Even if I put out a pick that you're gonna lose on. Like it's just I'm just just doing it. Like I'm literally just doing it. I'm not forcing it. I'm just doing it. I'm just sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting $5 of not my money, which I guess technically it is my money because it's in my pocket.
Yeah.
But somebody else is giving me money. I'm putting up a bet. If I lose it, I still worked hard for the money that I earned and I've received. And this money is literally strictly off of something that I was like, you know what, I'll try this out.
Okay, let's just say what if like let's just throw out the whole thing about money. Like if me and you just had points, right? I put 100 points in, you put 100 points in, right?
Where do the points come from though?
That's what I'm saying. Like they're just like made up, right? Like let's look at money. Like for
No,
example,
there has to be something physical. Points is not physical, is it?
well, like let's look at money for example, because I feel like when it comes to money, like we know like people
We know its value.
Yeah, we know its value, but sometimes people like overvalue money in a sense, or like people undervalue it, right?
Yeah.
Like money is it's like a middleman between us and like just getting things. Like we used to just have to get things. Like instead of going out and chopping the wood,
Right.
we now buy someone who chopped the wood for us, right? It's like the middleman. Or instead of going out and hunting, we go and buy meat from the hunter, right? Stuff like that. And so it's just I'm trying to like wrap my head around just like the whole thing with like playing.
It's like, are we taking money too seriously, or are we taking it like less seriously?
Because let's really think about like with the federal with the they're printing money. Like we know that like people are just printing money. So it's like money at the end of the day, like nowadays I feel like is like losing its value almost. It's just like it is, and anyone can just print money. At that point, it's just points,
and people lose.
It's just points on a board,
and people lose their value, morals, because they don't value money. They do things that are not of God, and they also lose their value and then what's called money also loses its value.
Well,
So you lose both.
What I'm trying to say is like money, like we live in such an abundant world and stuff like that, and like God, like we're blessed to have that and stuff. And I feel like with money, like people they overvalue it in a sense. Like if I like,
Oh, how about this? $1, okay, $5 buys you. Okay, let's just say 2 bottles of water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some poor countries they don't even have water.
Yep.
Don't you think it's like now money is valuable? Because if that person had $5, then they would have bought a water and they would drink it, type of thing.
Then
In my opinion,
I do. It's just, I think it's also like,
We have to go deep because it's deep.
it is.
That's
Let's
the
do it.
thing.
I mean, I think, I don't know.
In my
Everybody's put in
opinion,
specific
can I explain it?
situations. Yeah,
In
go
my
ahead,
perspective,
go ahead.
in my opinion, in a world of abundance, things are undervalued. Things in underabundance are almost idolized. Meaning, if you live in a poor place, people have a poor mindset. They usually like, yo, save money on this, save money on that. But they live in an abundant world with an abundant mind that you're a human being. You can actually do a lot of things in your power to, make money. So people, it's a perception, it's an understanding. So you can have all the money in the world, and now because of all that money, you actually go like, yo, what is $1? That's why when you see a millionaire, for them, let's say 100,000 is nothing. For you, 100,000, dude, that's money.
Dude, I'll take that.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that person now gave the value on the 100,000 based on what he has in his pocket, meaning 1 million. So the value of the money dropped in that person's perspective because of how much they have, the abundance. Therefore, the money still has the value in whoever hands it is in. So when you put in perspective that you're gambling with, let's say, $5 or $1, that on the other side of the world, there's this kid who is drinking like shit water with no food and literally starving to death, and every single day they are just hoping for water, and you're doing this with money. That means there's ignorance to your understanding on the value of the gift.
Yeah.
And when you gamble, what you're doing is you're saying, oh, tough luck for them, I have it. And I think that's when the devil gets involved, is that ignorance, and people that now they don't have any type of empathy for people who are struggling, and they're like, I don't care.
Right.
And it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, what if, how can I explain this?
Because I'm really trying to break this down. I'm really trying to understand this too.
Because
before I met them,
like
I thought gambling is just like, like one time I asked them, I was like, we were at like this park, I was like, yo, let's play poker. Let's all put in like $5, like, and then whoever.
I play poker religiously.
Let me finish. And then like they explained to me, it's like, they're like, wait, why do we have to play with money? Blah blah blah. Like, and then they explained to me like the child, and like he just doesn't have money and stuff like that. In another country, it's like you're playing with money almost. It's like you're playing with something that someone values a lot. And it's like I understand that. It's like I'm on the same page with you almost. It's like I almost like it's just a part of me just like I'm like 50-50 with
it's like
it.
Every extra dollar I have though, like has to go towards, somebody else if I want to do a good deed. Like that's kind of what it sounds like. And it's more of, regardless, I worked hard for my money. I've been put in a position by God, by the grace of God, to be able to do the things that I do and have the things that I have. So if I'm put in a position to do something that I enjoy, I'll do it.
Because then it's like, okay, what if like your child's starving, right? And then you're like the thing that you do on the side is sports gambling because you're just so good at it. And it's just like, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? I'm sure you can make money in other good ways.
So
definitely.
Yeah, and that's when it ties.
When Jesus Christ was teaching a sermon, this is what he said. He goes, the Father in heaven takes care of the animals, the birds, but they don't even ask for it. How much are you of the value for the Father to not give you what you need, right? So I think what happens is when we think that when we're going through a struggle, and it's a difficult thing, I'm not saying it's an easy thing.
No, right.
When you have, let's say, God forbid, your wife dying, and you need to make money, and you don't have anything, you need to feed your kids, you go out there and just do things like such as people who have been selling drugs and stuff. I think that just shows that you're not relying on God. You're relying on your own abilities to make money from the things that are ungodly.
Yeah.
So how do you expect God to be with you when you're not doing His work? Therefore, God is standing in front of your face, and He's waiting for you to ask. You turn your back around and do the devil's work and asking the devil to give you the money. And He's giving you the money, don't get me wrong. But it's like you're getting it from the devil, not God. So it's like, I think that's what he means when He says, rely on me in everything. Like when you don't have food, ask God for it. He multiplied food. I think He still does it till this day. We just don't believe it. That's why when He says like, with a grain of salt of faith, you can make the mountains move.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
I mean, dude, yeah.
I think our faith has changed.
It's definitely it's powerful, and I understand what you're saying. I mean, yeah, it's just
dude. Because we can just go right into the conversation about money too, because I feel like there's this misconception that like, okay, if you're a Christian, like you shouldn't like want to make money, right? Like in this, like at first, like when like I didn't really accept that idea, but like I heard this thing. It's like, oh, if you're Christian, like and you have a business and you're trying to make money, it's like you can't be doing that, and it's just like. Like at the end of the day, it's like it's how you look at money, how you make the money, and like what money is like to you. I'd say, because for a person living in America and stuff like that, like they might be like struggling, but they might have a lot of money. Or someone in Africa, like they're super happy, but they don't have a lot of money. It's just like then like where do you kind of base that? Okay, is money valuable or is it not? It really depends on the person.
You need to find the middle ground, and it's hard to find the middle ground when you're stuck.
Yeah, and I feel like definitely like you as a Christian, like you should be wanting to make as much money as possible in the best way possible, right? By serving the world in the right way. Like it's not a bad thing at all. And like the what is that one verse? It's like money is the root of all evil, or the love of money is the root of all evil. But then the next question is, what does it mean to love money, right? And then when to a point is it evil, right? Like when you're just you're like lusting over money almost. Like you have this like, and what is lust? A strong desire that you have that you're letting it pull you in this way, that way. And it's like you're being led by the devil almost.
It's consuming you. I mean, yeah, 100%.
I think we have to take what the Bible tells us and teaches us about things and just be have an understanding and
more
the wisdom,
open-minded about it.
Open-minded to like, what is God trying to tell us with the message of the love of money is the root of evil? Is we have to really understand His exact message by seeking for it. We've all experienced what money does to people. Like it reveals them. It doesn't change them. People think it changes them. It just simply reveals who you are and your true desires. And for the most part, when you actually see people make a lot of money, they tend to think that they have the authority now,
of course,
to speak
like higher
on any matter.
Yep, exactly.
Even though they might not have experienced it.
Right.
Like there will be somebody who made money from business and is gonna give relationship advice and is single.
Yeah.
Because they have money though, and it gives them the authority. So
because people believe them.
Because the power.
Exactly.
Because the money, not because he's given the right advice.
Right.
Right. I think the problem is too. Is like I think the question instead of us, if someone were to live their life, the question wouldn't be, okay, how are you going to make money? It's no, like, how do you want to live your life? Because someone could be like, I don't really need that much money. Like, you know what I mean? I just want to be able to work the job I want. I want to be able to take care of my kids, eat healthy foods, like, and like whatever money like comes with, like whatever money I need for that, that's what the money that I'm gonna want, right? Whatever it is. Versus someone who's just like no, like I'm just gonna like make as much money as possible. Like why? Like why? Like, what is your purpose really?
Exactly.
Like really here to do? Or versus someone who's just like, I just really want to be a good father. That's it. Like whatever amount of money, like money doesn't mean you're a good father, but what I'm saying is like to support like the environment, support your house, support your kids, support them in a good environment, good school environment, etc. So the question shouldn't be like, I feel like with Americans too, like they always just like, oh, like how are you making money? How are you making money? It's like, no, like how do you want to live your life, right? And how much money that you need to do that, then it's just like, then make that amount of money in whatever the best way possible to serve Christ still.
Exactly.
That's kind of how I see it.
My question is, let's say, for example, let's get like personal, right? Like, why aren't you gambling? Why not? What is your answer? Like when somebody asks, why don't you gamble?
Why don't I gamble?
Yeah,
I just don't.
You just don't.
I just don't.
No. It's got to be more. That's why I'm trying.
I just don't
get in depth.
Well, number one, I don't watch sports.
Before I started gambling, there was no reason why I didn't. I just didn't. It had nothing to do with my age. I mean, actually, it could have played a factor. Like I'm like, oh, I'm 16, I can't even do it, even if I wanted to. But I just had no motive to do it.
Was it like anyone in your friend group that wasn't
Nope.
gambling, and then
Nope.
someone got you into no?
I literally was just like, why not? If I already watch sports and know a lot about sports, let's turn it into some money.
Okay.
It's
probably
the
the
reason why I asked
that
that
was-
is because
I can
The more
name
you watch the
Yeah, I
sports,
want
the
you
more
to-
they say bet, and then you're like, yo, look, I know
Well,
Eagles are gonna win. I'm
it's-
just gonna bet money. So
see, even
there's
like
an influence.
Of
for
course,
sure.
there's an influence, but it's more of it's literally just doing research.
think
Like
if
I
you-
literally just do
I think
research.
it's also if you get trapped in the world or not.
And
Like,
I'm-
to an extent.
And
it
I'm
is.
not I have a job. You know, I work 35, 40 hours a week. In no way, shape, or form is gambling like a hard side hustle. Like the social media managing is my side hustle. This is literally paying for my Chipotle tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like it's so little. Like it's just dumb little bets.
What if I deal drugs for like just once a year? I mean, it's not a side hustle. I just do it once, bro.
It might not be.
I might just kill 20 people in that one time.
If I get caught with those drugs,
is it bad or good?
it's bad. If I get caught with those, there's so much more that could go
But
down.
it's not a side hustle though.
Right, but would God rather? It's not a bit. I guess you shouldn't really ask rather, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put yourself in the situation, just regardless. Like, just hear it. Would you rather put in a $5 gamble or a $5 bet, or would you rather drive a pound of weed to New York
Bro,
tonight?
do you realize people commit suicide because of bets? It's just
Oh,
as
I mean,
people
I've
commit
never
suicide
never
for a
heard
bunch
of
of things, not
I've
just
never-
bets.
it's just as worse as.
Oh
as
yeah,
doing
I've
drugs
never heard
because
of anybody that has
Someone
ever.
dies from choking on water. Is water bad?
I've never in my life
Yeah,
ever
but
heard
that's
of
not
one
the perspective
person
you should
that
go
has
with, because
ever.
then you can always find a way to
You've actually
find
heard people choke from water
People
and die?
choke. No, people choke on things and they die from food. From
I've never heard about
Yeah, but
somebody
we're talking
killing
about things
themselves
that are
over gambling.
intentional
Though.
than unintentional.
Ever.
Nobody
So-
wants to put something
Like, I've never
food in
even
their
heard
mouth
it
and say,
once.
"Oh, I'm going to choke on this and die."
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing up a point that has nothing to do with what he's
Well,
saying.
that's what I-
though.
that's
And
what I
it's-
thought of.
think
getting
it's
heated
just-
right now.
that's what I
No,
thought.
Good. This is good.
Like whatever.
No,
like
because you can find good. You can find anything bad in good and good in bad. So if you go with that, I can say, yo, bro,
Good
why
and
should
bad,
I
bad
even?
and good.
Why should we even film, bro? People might take a bad message. Why should we even eat? I mean,
Yeah.
dude, we could die. Like what? You could also like, you know what I mean? Like you can. That's just how.
Yeah, but-
this is
But
devil's
in your
shit
head,
right
I
there.
see it though.
Making-
It's sin is sin,
making
regardless
people-
of what sin is made. It
Yeah.
could be the biggest sin in the world, or
it's
it could be
devil's trick.
something
Making
as
something
little as
good,
just.
a thought.
making it seem
Yo, I
bad.
had toast with jelly on it earlier. You know I didn't. You know I had it with peanut butter. It could be
Yeah.
as stupid, as silly as a lie of that, or it could be the biggest sin in the world. You know, running from the cops,
Kill someone,
killing,
for God's sake, yeah.
killing somebody, committing arson, like anything. Like there's so many things. There's literally negative in every single good thing, and there's
That's why
good
it's hard.
in every single bad.
That's why it's super hard
Of
to
course.
live a true Christian life.
It
That's why
is.
it's hard,
It
bro.
is. But
You
God's
can't.
very
Like,
accepting and
it's very.
He's very understanding, and He knows that nobody's perfect, and He made the world like that. He's the only perfect. He's the only one who's perfect.
But when you, I see what you're saying, bro. But like at the same time, when you know these things and you still do it, there's a consequences to that, though.
Oh,
Like,
I
for
think
sure.
it's
God doesn't just say, you know what, I forgive you, but guess what? You can now go do whatever you want
No,
because you know that
100%.
I'm a loving God.
if you're gonna
There's
go
a
and repent
consequence
for your
that.
sins, you have to be able to follow a life that you're not gonna sin
Yeah.
anymore. You know, if I go to confession
Yeah.
and I confess to the Lord, like I'm sorry for doing this, and this. I ask for your forgiveness, couple Hail Marys, couple Our Fathers, and next thing you know, you walk out of there feeling like a brand new man. But if you go 5 minutes later and you call your friend and you start, you know, saying this and cursing this and going to do that, going to do this and lying to people, then instantly it's just everything's just out the window. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess I see it a little bit different than you guys, but I don't think it's I don't know.
And
I don't think
God,
I'm
it's
doing
all
it.
matter of
For every time. I don't know,
the
man.
right understanding, the right time for people to realize this.
potentially.
and stuff.
I really just I don't know. Maybe I
wanted
just,
Mike to answer that question. I want
just
to go
don't
back to that
see
question.
Gambling like the sports betting. I mean, I'm not. It's unhealthy. It's not necessarily a good thing. Yes, you can make money out of it, but no, I do not condone it. So yes, I wouldn't say it's, you know, you're doing the devil's work or doing God's work. So I guess on the other hand, then you're doing the devil's work. So yes, I can't tell you you're wrong for having an opinion, but I don't see it as harsh as it comes off. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a piece of shit who
course
is
not.
walking around, you know, and all because I sports bet, I'm going to fucking hell now. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
So it's just it is what it is.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I definitely, hearing your guys' side of the story, I mean, it definitely makes me sit back in my chair a little bit and think a little bit more about, you know, is this something that I want to continue
That's
to do
what we're
after
here
this?
for. If I do something wrong, you're supposed to tell me.
100%. You want to hear the
even
things
if I
that you're
don't
not
see it
supposed to
or
hear.
whatever, yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I never saw the perspective of what you guys are saying, right? I didn't even see it. Like, I'm still trying to see it right now, but it makes sense. It doesn't not make sense, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But you know, it just
I think some things
It is
just
what
really
it
come
is.
down to very, very simple matters too. That's how I look. Like sometimes I try not to overcomplicate things. Just look at it from a very
Yeah, yeah,
simplistic standpoint. Is, well, what does the Bible say about such thing? Or as simple as, okay, is it good or not? If it's not good, what am I doing there?
right. If it's not good, it's
Like
bad.
that means I'm just trying to justify it. I want to live in my sin, and I'm honestly saying it, which I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, yeah.
You're pretty much saying that I understand it's a sin, but I want to do it.
So, do you think? I don't know why I thought about this. Do you think you know what purgatory is?
Purgatory.
Yeah.
Purgatory.
Like big sin is small sin, right?
No.
No, purgatory essentially being like the waiting room. Like there's
Yeah,
heaven,
it's like the in
there's hell.
between
It's like the middle
between
ground.
earth and heaven.
Do you
Of course
believe in
not.
purgatory?
I mean, Bible doesn't say anything about that. Doesn't point to anything like that.
Like-
Jesus Christ simply says hell or heaven. That's it. He doesn't say anything. Oh, like, maybe, you know what? I will take you through a little hell, and then I'll take you to heaven. He doesn't say that, unfortunately, and fortunately too, because that's the justice system. In order for God to destroy sin,
Yep.
sin has to be destroyed, and that's what He does: is hell or heaven. But as humans, that's why it's important for us to let every single one of each other know about Jesus Christ and who He is, to have the opportunity to know
Yep.
that there is a way. Just have to choose that way. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing is once we're saved, it's an amazing thing is because we have the understanding on how things work, and we're saved by His Spirit. But it's the fruits that, like, our actions matter now to the outcome of the people, and it's a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean?
I understand for sure.
So, like I said, when there's good and bad, there's no complication there, in my opinion. There's no need to be.
Right.
You just know.
Because you can
that do a
find a
360
middle ground.
from
You
it,
always can.
and it's
Of
not
course.
as easy
Bro, he
as it
literally
sounds.
found a middle ground
But-
for water. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, I don't want to, like, because I've done that too. Everybody has. I can, like, talk about something bad and I can justify it, like, with
Every way, shape, or
that's
form.
just the power of our mind.
Yeah.
And the devil just whispering, "Yo, look, you could do this though. You're not really doing anything bad though, are you? God still loves you. God still forgive you. He's all loving and stuff, bro. It could be a trick. Like we don't have to fall for it, especially
Ignorance is
when we have
bliss.
the knowledge right now. You have the knowledge. Stu does. I do. Mike does. We have to be careful. That's all.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's all love.
Of course.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Always.
Yeah. Mike, what were you gonna say about, like, how do you answer that question? Because I think when it comes down to just saying, I don't gamble because I don't gamble, it's you're
I
not
just
thinking
think
in depth.
it has nothing to do with
Religion,
like, the path.
faith.
No, it has nothing to do with like purpose, like my purpose, like with. I mean, I guess God's work either. Like I don't see it. Like when I look at gambling, it has nothing to do with just like, in my opinion, with like what God has. That's just like my opinion, but it doesn't mean it's like good or bad. You know what I mean? But and like when we were all talking here, it's just like,
What about it is not appealing? That is not
It's not.
God's purpose
I mean, number
for
one,
you?
it's not sustainable, but it's also just like there's just like no point to it because obviously I'm not gonna go and watch sports and stuff like that. But it's also, it's just gambling is just not sustainable at all. It's like you're not gonna make an actual income. It's just like, for me, it's like almost like a waste of time, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with that though. Like I definitely I think it.
You don't think it
Like,
makes
brings-
people a lot of money?
I know it makes people a lot of money.
Yeah,
I know it
So do a
does.
lot of
can be
other things like
sustainable, right?
OnlyFans. Doesn't mean I'm gonna do OnlyFans.
I know it makes people, but you could also be just as much as you could be $20 million in profit. You could be $20 million in debt. You could lose everything. You could lose your house off a gamble.
Yeah.
Everything you have to your name, the clothes off your back, the shoes you bought fucking 2 years ago. You would lose everything off one bet. So that's why it comes down to the person. That's all it is. Because it's like, for me, it literally is pointless. There's no point to do it. I just put up $120 an hour ago on a bet that for a game tonight, and I don't know if I'm going to lose it. I'm hoping and praying that I hit, of course. I mean, who wants to lose the money? But I just know, like, I just know I can do more if this hits.
Like,
but
do you really care that much if you lose a bet?
No, because not only that, like I said, I don't use my own money, and on top of it, it's not like I have
money do you use?
people that send me money. Like, for instance, when I put up a story saying, "Hey, $10."
Like
Anybody?
he gets a percentage of other people.
Not even.
He's helping. You're giving knowledge to them.
They're buying. People are buying my knowledge.
5%, 2% maybe.
Well, there's no percentage to it. People are sending me $10. I could say $1,000 if you want my pick.
Just put it in a.
But I don't care.
So
It's literally just I'm just doing it out of just free time, essentially, I guess. And I watch sports religiously. Like I'm a sports freak. Like,
well, why can't you enjoy sports without
I
gambling?
do. I love sports without gambling. I don't really gamble. I just here and there I'll put up a bet, but I do it. So I can't say I don't do it, but I sports bet.
So when you say that you make money from you putting down your money that you worked for, but now you're saying it's not your money, I don't understand.
So I have a job that I work hard for my money,
Right.
but that money isn't coming out of my paycheck when I sports bet. So what I'll do is whatever bet that hit last week from the money that was sent by people who slid up and said, "Hey, I'll send you the money that you want for you to unblock this pick."
So now you're using other people's
money.
other people's money, because you don't want to spend your money that you worked hard for, because you realize that whatever you worked for, you put your time and energy.
If I was using my own money to sports bet, I wouldn't sports bet.
Exactly. So therefore, it just comes down to selfishness. I really have to tell you straightforward that you're pretty much saying that money that I earned, that I worked hard for, is I appreciate that money, but I don't appreciate the money that somebody else earned.
How much more selfish are they though
less.
for sending me the money for the sports pick?
So just because somebody's selfish, you're helping them to be selfish?
Well, it's just what I'm providing for it's like a exchange.
But you're providing that to ignorant people. You're not providing that value to anybody that is wise enough to understand that you actually don't even know. You don't even have as much knowledge as you think you do by betting for Canada. You really don't. I wouldn't believe you, right?
Right.
If I'm honest.
Right. But there's people, like, for instance, there's people out there that like sports bet for a living that would take my pick. Like, it's just $10. Okay, I'll send you it. It's literally, I just put on my story, cover it up. If you want it without the cover to see what I did, then you do it. But just the only reason I did is I know the sport. I have knowledge on the sport. I put it out there.
But you don't have the knowledge to know who's going to win. Well, you have the knowledge of a sport. Anybody can have a knowledge of a sport.
Yep, I know more about
the knowledge that,
like, the players, how they operate, how many times they've scored in the past week, how many times they've done this in the past week, what they do on the court when this specific guy's off. Like,
but you're playing on people's ignorance is what you're not trying to understand. You do know this. You're playing on people's ignorance. The person that will send you money will be the ignorant person who knows less than you about a sport. They might know more knowledge about money, but they know less about the sport that you know about.
Sure, yeah.
And you're playing on their ignorance, using their money to win you money. And that's just you saying, I do care about the money that I earned, but not about you and your money.
Essentially, yeah.
Like, it's the hard truth, and I'm really telling you, because if I did that, that's what I would tell myself, and I wouldn't, hold back from it. I'm talking to you like a brother, like I would tell George and Mike. I'm telling you the exact same way, and I would tell that to everybody, because that's love.
I hear you, bro.
And
I mean,
it's
definitely, and that's why I say, and that's why I continue to go back to. I mean, I don't necessarily support it or condone it, but I do it in moderation. And if I sat here and said that I don't bet or I don't do anything, then it'd just be a sin right to your face. I gamble here and there. And yeah, it's basically, it's like, yes, it's selfish. And I guess the godly way to do it would be not do it at all. But if anything, tell these people that slide up, would God want you to send me this $10? Would God want you to sports bet? Would God want you to do this? And I guess just putting God's name first in everything. but I mean, I just do it.
What are the chances you could do this now with like, let's say, the understanding? I hope that God gives you this understanding that you can be this person that motivates people to help them understand how betting is a trap to a very, very big addiction. You have the knowledge of both betting and how that works. Now you can use the knowledge of either one. You can use the knowledge of the sport and play on people's ignorance,
Yep.
or use the knowledge that God gave you about how betting actually works and how bad it is to now turn people away from it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just don't.
And that would be a blessing.
Of course. No, I mean,
imagine you turning somebody around from
100%,
gambling to
100%.
finding God type of thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, the only reason I can see it, and this could be selfish too, but the only reason I see it that way is because of, I guess I would say like, I don't even know. It's maybe I'm being ignorant by, sports betting. Maybe I'm being selfish and no, I'm not being who I truly should be as a human when I sports bet. And to be able to help somebody else out would be great, but I can't see I don't see it that deep. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it that deep.
And I hope you do.
Me,
I think God
too,
wants
brother.
you to
Me
see
too.
that deep.
Me too. I just, I don't. And the only reason I do see it a little bit deep is because it's addiction. Like, for most people. Like, most people that sport, if you, like, I'll stop today just because you want me to. Like, if you really, but I'm telling, like, a lot of people that gamble, it's an addiction. It's like smoking,
but you see,
drinking.
the sad reality is you wouldn't stop if I wanted to, because if I were to
Well,
tell
I
you
don't
right
wanna
now,
promote-
stop it because
I don't wanna
tell you
promote-
to, you really can't, because that's not, a human works differently. Okay, what if I were to tell you, I challenge you right now, stop betting and to complete 360? Would you do it?
I know I can do it.
Do it.
It's about
I
wanting
challenge
to
you.
do it.
Handshake on it. You see, that's what it comes down to.
It's
You
about
wanting
wanting
it or
to
not.
do it. It's ignorance. It's
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is what it is.
I think that's the thing, though. When you ask for it, God gives you the strength to leave that aside.
I just don't see it as deep as
People
that.
have turned away from any type of addiction, any type of sin, and the acknowledgement. Dude, you do acknowledge it. The things like, if you
I
were to
acknowledge
watch-
it. The only reason I'm like, I guess persistent about it and see it in like your eyes in a way is because of an addiction. For a lot of people, gambling is an addiction. You can't just stop. But I think also
But
for a
don't you
lot
think
of
there's
people,
levels to addictions. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you say yours is an addiction if you can't? If you say that you can do it but you won't, that's just saying, well, I know that I can do better, but I just won't. Like, why wouldn't you?
well, I guess it's more of when it comes to presenting it to people. Like when I post, like now, I see it as okay, like it's a little bit ignorant. You shouldn't post.
But then if you
it's
don't
almost
post,
like you're
bro, you're
robbing
gonna have to
people.
put down your money. Now that takes you to a different problem, right?
Well, yeah, but that like I said 10 minutes ago, if I'm not using somebody else, if I'm not using money through somebody else, I'm not going to sports bet. Like it's not.
What does that tell you?
I just don't care enough to sports bet. I'm not
But you
serious.
care enough to make money.
Of course, I mean, but I'll make money in a million other ways. It's literally just what I hop on the app, I place a bet. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I don't care what I do. Like I literally don't care
Because
if I
it's not
lose.
your money.
Yeah, essentially.
said it.
Essentially, but even if it was mine, I wouldn't care because I've gambled once or twice with my own money. How do you think? How do you start? You have to start somewhere. I can't place a random pick off the internet. I have to put my money down. It's like a business. You have to put money out of pocket, and you have to start your business before you can even gross. You know what I mean? You can even net money. So.
Yeah, but you can't. This is what I don't understand, and I don't mean to press you, but I really don't. You're telling me that you wouldn't bet with your money because you don't care about it, but you are willing to bet money, other people's money, because it's not yours.
I guess
and now
it's
all of a sudden you care about betting.
Hard-earned money, like the money that I bust my ass for.
How do you know somebody else is earning money? Do you ask them?
What do you mean? What do you say?
Let's say somebody else sends the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
To bet on your knowledge, as you call it.
Right.
How do you know what they have done in their life?
I don't, but it seems to
What
me.
if they work harder than you? Let's say, or more physical labor.
they just don't care.
And because they don't care, you support them to not care?
It's not even like supporting them.
They should care.
It's not even supporting them. Maybe in the way you're thinking about it, yes, but I'm not supporting anybody if they're just getting knowledge that I just did insights on. If they're sending me money, that's on you. Me taking
We just
the
have
money.
to think about each other. That's all.
Yeah,
that's
100%. No, I hear you. I hear you, bro. I mean,
dude, and I know you understand.
that's what a debate is. A debate is a debate. A
discussion
discussion is discussion, and opinion's an opinion. And just all about the way you see things.
I don't see any opinion here. It's just facts. You said it with your mouth.
Yeah, well, even
there's no opinion here. You know the facts and you know what's right and what's wrong.
Right, but believing in God is either it's not a fact. You can't factually prove that God is real and that everybody's going to go to heaven and we can believe in it. Like, it's how you feel inside of you. It's your my opinion is God is real. Your opinion that God is not real.
But that statement itself is a contradiction, right?
Of
real
course.
means what? So I'm saying, look, my opinion of God is real. That is a statemental contradiction. Is how I would call it. Opinion. My opinion is that God is real. Real is objective.
Of course. So
if you mean proving, like, oh, I'm proving to Mike that there's like this is it type of thing, I can't do that because one, he has his free will. God gave us all free will, that we can't just like that just change somebody's mindset. We have to somehow influence them.
Right.
It's how do we do what
it's
do we
like
do
somebody's
with
free will to send me their $10 too.
But then it's also your influence on what you do when that person sends you money. You go,
of course.
Yeah, well now with your $10, I'm gonna make you money, bro. But in reality, they might not make money.
They might
then
not.
At the same time, they might.
And that's the chance they're willing to take.
Yeah, they're willing to take the chance. But when somebody sends you money, what do you tell them? Hey, bro, there's a better way, and that's Jesus Christ. Or do you say, hey, bro, this is the way. Keep it up. Maybe send me $20 if you make money from the $10. Maybe send me $100 when you make money from the $10.
I hear you.
That's
100%.
what you're doing, bro.
I get you 100%. You're not wrong.
And you can flip this around.
Yo, you're not wrong.
You can influence people completely.
Oh,
opposite
100%.
side.
100%. Dude, to me, it's not that serious. Sports betting. It's just not.
Don't look at. Dude, it's not sports
just
betting,
not,
brother. It's not sports betting. We're talking about you caring for other people, what they do with their lives. I mean, you.
Oh,
should
of course.
care.
Oh,
Why would you not care
to
if
be a
somebody's-
better human in general. I mean, of course, it can lead to.
That's what we're getting at.
Of
You should
course.
care that they're betting money. They
Yeah.
shouldn't even be betting money.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To each his own. That's how I see it. And everybody walks their own path. And
I do hope that God shows you that.
me too.
That you can.
Me too.
Like after this conversation, it's like we're presented with like, okay, if someone's like on the fence, like good or bad, right? Like, okay, there's pros, there's cons, and then they get to just make a decision, right? And that's it. Like you weigh the pros and cons, then you make a decision, and then you go on to live your life how you want to live your life because that's free will,
Right. Yeah.
That's
exactly.
it.
And it's like you can't be a lukewarm, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't say, oh, this is a good side. But
Yeah, just pick one. Yeah, just pick one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we always do pick one.
But I
Well,
can
yeah, that's what
assure
I
you
said.
that I definitely see your side. I see what you're saying, and 1,000%, I don't disagree. Like I don't disagree.
But you don't agree with it either.
Well, I don't necessarily don't not agree.
Because
but
I just said stop doing it. I literally made a statement.
Right.
I didn't tell you, hey Jayden, this is. I'm literally making a statement, and I'm being honest.
Right.
I said stop doing it. Now you don't have to listen to me, but I make that statement. So don't tell me that I see from your side, but you're not telling me like it's good. I'm telling you, don't do it.
no,
Right?
you're right, correct.
So there's no like, I don't disagree, but I don't agree either.
Right.
Like you're just in the fence
Yeah.
as of right now, as of like
Correct.
this moment.
Correct. Because I don't know.
So
Like,
you will make a decision tomorrow when you wake up whether you will do it again or not, and you're not going to be a lukewarm then. You're probably lukewarm now when you're saying I understand, but I don't.
It might
But
not
when
even be tomorrow morning. It could be it's God's time.
No. What I'm trying to tell you is that when we're having a conversation at this moment, right, and you said, I do see where you're coming from, and I don't disagree, but I don't agree with it either because I have my own perspective, right? Essentially, is at that moment you're acknowledging the good and you're acknowledging the bad side of it.
Correct.
So what you will do with the betting will determine which side you choose. So let me put it in a very, very simple way. So if within the next hour, the next day, he will bet again, you have chosen the side that you agreed with that was bad.
Correct.
So that's what I was trying to
I understand what you're
get
saying.
at.
Yeah.
Since you said like I've never seen this perspective, well now you have. You know what I mean? So
No, yeah, for sure. It's a good perspective, man.
I
It's definitely good to-
really want to say that I appreciate you coming on this podcast and having such an honest conversation, is because like people just won't even have this conversation.
Not gonna fake
just
it,
in
bro.
person, but on camera, dude.
I'm not gonna fake it. I mean, if I need to get closer to Christ through this conversation, then I
And
gotta
dude,
get
we
closer.
all do.
But I'm
we all
telling
do.
you,
There's
but-
all things that we do. There's things that I'm struggling with.
100%.
That I need your guys' help.
Yep.
On telling me that, hey, you're not walking on Christ's path as much as you need me to tell you, and vice versa. Like every single one of us in this room, and that's the beauty of it, is that when we don't see something, right? Christ sends our brother to tell us, and that's the beauty of it. And we have to be that good brothers.
maybe you're that brother when
That-
somebody sends you that $10. Maybe you are that one. Maybe you're just not doing it, man. God's keep calling you. Do it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's just
It's hard, man.
It's
I know.
hard when you have the business mindset too with it. Like,
Yeah, of course.
I'm sitting here and I'm getting paid to strictly do this. Like, I'm literally like, the money that is coming into my pocket is through the knowledge that I have learned, and I put my own time and effort into. And I'm gonna go ahead and it's transactional. So for me, when I'm doing it with somebody, it's fluent, it's clean, there's no issues. It is what it is. It's
not clean, brother.
transactional. It's
not clean.
I'm saying when you're in that situation, it's just transactional. It's like a business. It's like
It's
if I'm
not
selling
though.
you this fruit bowl, give me $5 for it. It's just transactional.
It goes deeper than that. I can study how drugs work and sell them. That's clean, because I studied it. It goes deeper than just the like I understand the transaction part. That's completely like you have the knowledge that somebody else doesn't, and now because of that knowledge, they're willing to pay. But it goes next step.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is that
I'm
knowledge
just-
that you're selling?
I'm just ignoring all that, I guess. I'm literally here for the business aspect of it. I get paid. I send you this. Let's make money together. Come back at it tomorrow. Straight up. Like, it's just sports betting. Or just betting in
Yeah.
general. Gambling. They're like, I know it goes deep. And
That's good.
It's all about perspective. And maybe I need to do more to find the perspective that you guys have. I don't see it fully, though. I don't think when I do this, I'm being as ignorant as, if I was on, a path of
Rather than our
glory in God.
perspective, what I would suggest is that we
Yeah, don't
should
even
all
care
pray.
about how about this?
Also,
No,
from the outside
hold this,
looking
hold
in, I don't think anybody looks at me crooked because I sports bet or because I send out a pick.
Dude, Jesus loves you, and I have no place to dislike you because of that reason.
Yeah,
I can't.
My mind
shouldn't.
hasn't changed right now. Sitting on this podcast,
I
thinking
still
about
love you
Jayden's
the
a
same
bad
way.
kid.
It's not
No,
about
right.
that.
I
He
mean,
hasn't.
I
Exactly.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's just, I don't know,
shouldn't,
dude.
yeah,
I
of course,
literally
yeah.
just sports bet. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
why I
This
would
is
say that the suggestion is, somebody can give you a good perspective, but the only one that can actually give you the real and the truthful perspective that changes you is God.
100%. And that's
it's
why I
prayers
gotta
to him
think a
that-
little bit more into it, because when I sit here and say it feels clean, is because it's so smooth and transactional. It's bang for bang. You know what I mean? It's just here.
Well, because you
It's
just
like if
don't
we
think
just
it's you don't
trade.
think it's wrong. That's it.
I guess so. Yeah, we're trading essentially. It's like, look, I did this, you get this, you did this because I did this, so now I get this. It's like one.
That's why
for
business
one.
could be dirty. So
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. That's why-
I feel
that's
like
why the trading part
Yeah,
dirty,
business
bro.
is dirty. Business is dirty.
yeah,
But you
I
know,
don't believe all
Can
of
be.
it is, but I'm still learning.
100%.
I'm
not
still
all of it,
learning.
yeah.
To an
If I
extent,
see that
To an
a
extent, yeah,
business will-
exactly. To an
not
extent.
to everything. Yeah, of course not.
And I feel
Yep.
like there's a lot of those topics too when it comes to like not even just gambling, with other things as well. There's things like where it's like us as Christians need to come together and just discuss it and just like conversate about to get different perspectives and just try to understand, because we're here to just understand. We're here to learn. We're here to have an open mind and stuff like that. So like when we're throwing like different perspectives and like having like different sides and stuff like that, it's good to just be like, okay, like what do we have here, right? Instead of it being like, oh, like pointing fingers or being like this person versus that person. It's like what is going on here? That's it.
But Christians need to have more boldness that people don't. It's like, well, you do you, and Jesus loves you. Dude, he does love you, but he hates your sin. And that's the important thing that people don't underline, is because, God can love you all he wants, but when the day of judgment comes, when you didn't choose him, like,
I want to look it up.
He
I want to
loves
see
you
what
with that.
Google would say.
But like, look, I'm just saying, like, if there's like, let's say like there's two Christians, right? Like one says, okay, like, oh, like what you're doing is a sin. The other person's like, okay, I don't really think it's a sin at all. And it's like the other person's like, okay, it explains it.
Sometimes, look, guess what? Some atheists think that there's no God. I mean, are they right? I mean, they could think that. Could believe that.
I want to read this.
Doesn't change there's one fact.
I'll wait for these
You're
guys.
doing God's work, or you're
After he reads that, I want to know where he was going with it, because I wanted to let him finish.
Just because I want to see if anybody's perspective changes a little bit. While the Bible does not explicitly label gambling as a sin, it advises against it due to its foolishness and potential negative impact that it could have following God. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a sin, and you're not doing the devil's work, but in the Bible it does say it's foolish, and he wouldn't, essentially, I would not like you to do this, is what he's saying.
It's an easy path to slip up in.
That's exactly what it is. When you go ahead and try and walk your path with me, it's a lot easier to fall out of that loop, out of that walk, if you're gambling. So it's foolish. So it's not a sin in the Bible. It says it's not a sin in the Bible, but it says gambling is foolish in the Bible.
It says gamble. It doesn't say gambling is a sin. Same with, it might not say the words of gambling is a sin. But then when you are trying to make quick money by trading something of small value for the value of something big, that itself is gambling. So if Bible says, let's say, love of money, it doesn't have to say that, well, if you had a choice to make between this and that and you chose money, therefore you committed a sin. Like, it doesn't break it down in those specifics for every single person, but I think it gives you a generalized idea.
Oh, I definitely have a general idea. I mean, it feels good that I'm not necessarily sinning, but I would definitely say I need to be more aware.
We need to pray about it and really understand the answer from God. Because
because I don't have that answer. I don't.
Exactly.
And reading that, it tells me like, yo, you are okay, but I don't like that you're doing it. So I really need to take a step back and just think about it a little bit more. Because I'm not necessarily doing a bad thing, but I'm not doing I'm not necessarily doing a disservice, but I'm not serving anybody with it anyway. I'm just.
That's a bitten apple, by the way. It's a bitten apple. The iPhone. You can't trust Google either. I mean, they can say all that stuff, but
yeah.
I wouldn't trust it. So
I wouldn't either. Except it says from the Bible.
So he's saying, I'm not doing a service to anybody, but I'm not doing a disservice.
I'm not doing a disservice.
Yeah.
But I'm not providing
service either.
I'm not doing what God necessarily would want me to do.
Right.
So
would you say that's being a lukewarm?
Yeah, it's negative.
If you actually,
I would say it's negative. It's not positive.
Not lukewarm?
It's not positive.
Well, you know what a lukewarm is, right?
Like in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say when you're saying I'm not doing a positive service,
I'm
not
lukewarm,
doing God's
yes.
work?
I'm not necessarily sinning, but I'm not proving my Christianity is as strong as I believe it is by doing that.
But now if that justifies your actions, but you're saying you're a lukewarm, if we do open up the Bible and what it says about lukewarm, I want to know your reaction on that. So you can look it up, what it says about lukewarm, and I want to see what you think after that. Because if you just take one verse and think that you're okay, but then God follows it up with it and says something about being a lukewarm and what the fence belongs to and who, then I think we were looking at things in a different perspective. And that's what I want you to think about.
All right. When I leave here, I'll make sure to read it.
For sure.
1,000%.
No, I mean, look it up. Maybe the audience wants to know. And it's an important quote.
What do you want me to look up?
Just look up what the Bible says about being a lukewarm.
I would look it up. I don't have internet.
I don't know
right
the
now.
exact verse about lukewarm, but I know that the fence belongs to the devil.
Being lukewarm is spiritually dangerous and displeases God, so he does not like that.
He said, you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out of my mouth, right? He says something like that.
No, it goes along those lines. Yeah, that's how I remember.
Along those lines.
Well, of course, if you don't believe in God, it's dangerous. There's no eternal life without belief in the Lord. So that's very understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's like kind of why I brought up like the whole purgatory idea, the whole purgatory talk, because people think that there's just enough sin that you can commit to where like once you hit the number 25 sins in your lifetime, then you're going to get sent to purgatory. And now as long as when you get up sitting on your stairs to heaven and God's at the top and you're looking at him face to face and he points at this board and was like, look at this. You did this. You did this. You did this. You did
There's like
this,
a leaderboard of like sinners.
Exactly. Like, but I don't know.
But it
Man,
sounds
that's
good
crazy.
to people. Like, you know what I mean? That makes them feel like it's good. Like the sound of that purgatory feeling is like good for people. That's why it sounds good to them.
But it's so dangerous.
Exactly.
Because just as close as you are to going to heaven, you're that much closer to going to hell. That's why it's dangerous to be lukewarm. You have no clue. You have no control. You're just stuck in the middle, and you have no. It's almost like just atheist, someone who just doesn't believe in God at that point, because everything that's being said, you're just like, you hear it, but screw it.
Yeah.
But then again, you also don't believe that, it's just there's nothing. You know what I mean? There's just dirt.
It's like an atheist can be living a moral and very, very good life versus a Christian who is struggling but has the faith in God.
Correct.
And has the faith in Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And, when things come to judgment, the Christian will not go to heaven because they were a good person. It's because they put their trust in Jesus Christ. Atheist was a better person, but they just hadn't put the trust
in Jesus,
who really saves them.
Yeah.
Mike, what were you ending with? I know we kind of cut you off.
I was trying to bring up a point where it's like, if you have two Christians and like, one just like, oh, but like I feel like you're sinning. Another person's like, well, explain to me, like, how do you think I'm sinning? And the other person's just like, he explains it this way. And the other person's just like, well, I don't really like pretty much like what we just had the conversation.
Yeah,
it's like, what do you
pretty
do,
much had
right?
that, yeah.
At the end of the day, like we all put our heads on the pillows and make a decision, right? And that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Whether we learn something from his side or your guy's side, it's like.
But I don't think anybody. I've never heard this conversation before online, on YouTube, on social media. Like, I'm interested to like look back on this and I
want to know what you guys think about it too. I really want
100%.
what people think about it.
Because I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but like obviously with the perspective that these guys are giving me, like
It's things like that like we just don't realize sometimes.
But that's what you need. You need perspective. You need perspective. If you guys were not here to give me a perspective like that, or you guys didn't believe in the certain values and morals that you guys believe to the standard that you believe in them, I could be sitting here. Maybe I would have put up $1,000 today. Maybe I would have left here and just bet more.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen?
Who knows? You never know. I don't know. I'm just bringing up just little shit. But
You know what advice I would give you as a brother is next time you ever come to that decision, which we all do when it comes to like whether that be betting or stuff, just look at your bracelet and just look what it says and really think about that.
No, 100%.
And, and I think it might clear some things up a little more, step by step. But I do really appreciate your honesty and just the conversation that you had with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, I can't fake it. It's just what I believe in, bro. I don't know.
Yeah. Appreciate it, bro.
Maybe God wants it that way for now, so I can,
It's God's time, and at
get
the end
stronger.
of the day,
That's why I said what I say earlier. It's not that this person's better than you. They just made it there before you or something like that. Like, it's God's timing. It's His timeline.
They're supposed to teach you.
Yeah, that's it.
Type of thing, yeah.
That's it.
Run the game, right? Real quick.
yeah. So we have this game, Christian Culture.
We're already like 2 hours in, bro. That's crazy.
That's
It's a card game.
really.
It was all
Yeah,
worth it.
that's
It was all
fire.
worth it. Christian Culture, and there's different cards of the icebreakers, hot topics, interpretations, and stories. Today we'll be going over hot topics.
All right.
And let's see. It's a random card. What are some important topics that churches should address but don't? Gambling.
Gambling.
Maybe
Do
maybe
they-
that's the answer.
Is it? I like. Can I
Answer,
say-
dude, no, there's no
it can
answer.
just
Like
be
you just
anything.
answer however you want.
Yeah.
What are some important
It's just,
topics that
for
churches should
discussion
address
and
but
just-
don't? Do churches
Opinion
address
on that.
like
Might the right answer something.
gender specific things? Like, you know how the Bible says like there's
Yeah.
There's men,
But
women.
I think the way the question is formed, it's like, but they don't do it enough, or that they don't do it as much as they should, type of thing.
Gotcha.
I think that's a good one though. If you actually
That's real
think about
good,
that,
yeah. What is-
Yeah, to be honest, they don't really mention the homosexuality and its sin according to the Bible and stuff like that
Yeah.
as much as they should.
Mm-hmm.
My answer would be gambling for sure. I think it just also makes sense
Just
that we
ties
talked
in
about it.
everything.
It really ties in so perfectly
Yeah.
that I think they just need to give us, because here's the thing though, give us the biblical understanding on what it's trying to tell us and how we can connect gambling to
Right.
what God wants us with it. So
Right.
that's what I would say personally.
What are some important topics that churches don't dress enough?
You can go next.
We're going in circle
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah,
But I answered
yeah,
it.
you guys
It's
went.
fine.
Did you go yet?
Nah, not
Yeah,
really. I
still
mean,
thinking.
I had
That was good. That
Well,
was
like
very
the-
good in my opinion.
yeah, I mean,
Wait, what did you say? I didn't.
I was
hear
talking
you.
about
I was
like
thinking-
gender specific, like gender roles. Like
Yeah.
there's not 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's 2.
There's 2, and in the Bible, it's clear.
Amen to that.
It's clear.
Pastor Mike actually says that pretty
Yeah.
often too.
Yeah.
When it comes to
I
that.
think in
Pastors
all
like-
churches,
yeah,
though, I
yeah.
never really hear that, and I mean,
There's no right answer, so yeah.
yeah, it just I don't know. I think it should
they
be
not?
It can always be more. is
right.
What
and,
the question is.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should feel, even if you like, how was the word, like even if you identify as whatever, I don't think you should feel, even if you're inside of that church, I don't think you should feel like negativity or hatred if that's
Never.
brought up, because it's literally just, we're just preaching what the Lord has put in front of this was here for a reason, so that
Yeah.
we can obtain all the information inside of it and run with it and do everything in our power to abide by it.
Exactly.
So I think the churches should bring up more of the gender roles, and that there's 2 and 2 for a reason, and if it's the only way this world's going to keep going.
Amen.
Literally straight
Amen.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, how else are you gonna have babies, yo?
You can't, brother. But that's also like, I'm not gonna like it doesn't make or break my church experience if they're not talking about gender.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
I just think they should
A lot
talk
of
about
the
it more.
a lot of
Yeah,
the
for sure.
cases, they don't straight up tell people like how it is. They should straight up tell them, you're either gonna go to heaven or hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, God did come and save you, but it really is still up to you for you to do the work, because it's like I understand where churches are going. I'm not talking about every church, but I'm talking about most of the churches. They want to make people feel good, and it's awesome to make people feel good, but at the same time, you're not telling them truth. You're supposed to be harsh with them. That's what the separate community is for them to give you that like reality check
Yup.
type of thing, like what God was doing, what we're supposed to do. Tell them straight up how it is.
Jesus would comfort people, but then he would tell them, sin no more. This is sin. Don't do this. This doesn't please the Father. This type of stuff. He would tell them straight up, and it would upset people, but it would give
But it
them the
would set them
truth, and he
free
would
type
set
of
them
thing.
free
Yep.
spiritually.
He told the
That's what-
Pharisees like
that's what
straight up
my
in front of
answer is.
everyone.
Exactly.
It's like, yo, you guys are really bad inside.
Yep.
What do you think? Mike?
Dirty cups.
So I think church and like just church communities should really just promote more just self-improvement in general. I feel like it plays a lot of like role. I feel like they don't really talk about it much. Like, okay, like regardless of like the Bible, like what, like are you taking care of your body? Is relationships okay? Like is like that includes your faith as well. Because like if you're cheating yourself
Your
on your
lifestyle,
diet,
right?
you're cheating yourself in your lifestyle. You're going to cheat yourself in your faith.
It's harder to find faith when you don't even know who you are.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like you should have this aspect where you're developing yourself to more develop your own faith. It all trickles into it. Like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I think church should definitely promote more of like a self development
More
type
ambitious.
of life.
Yeah, like disciplinary life.
Yeah, like don't just read the Bible. Like eat healthy foods, right? Like go take care of your body. God gave you that as well, right? God gave you the
Exactly.
people around you. Go take care of that as well.
God gave us all of us 2 hands.
That's why I think it's an important thing for people to know. Fasting and stuff is to hold back from the temptation of just eating whatever you want and whatever you feel like.
Fasting from other things too, like not even just
Yeah,
from
and then
food,
just
but like
not food,
fasting
but
from
yeah.
dopamine and like
Yeah,
all these
phones.
things, instant pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you can't control your desires, then your desires control you, and you go into the animalistic nature, and that is one thing that separates us humans from animals, is that we have to be able to control our desires.
Yep.
Jayden, are humans animals?
Are humans animals?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good answer.
I don't think so.
It's just
Christian
funny.
answer. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Who said they are? Somebody?
Right?
Dude,
Right?
Josh, we had a conversation with Josh and Alex at some point, and this question was just brought up. I don't know how, but it was, and we said no because I'll be honest, it didn't. When I heard it, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. Are humans animals? We're very distinct, and
Are animals
like,
humans? Put it that
we're-
way.
we're
It sounds
very
even worse.
distinct.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like animals
No.
are
beings.
What am I, an
We
animal?
have same features. We have the same.
Yeah, they
you
went
know,
by definition. So when you search up in Google, it's gonna tell you that
What,
obviously
like a
they have
gorilla?
heart. We have a heart.
You know what that points to, bro? Animals having similarity as humans. We have the same creator. That's
Yeah.
all. We're not the same. We have the
That's
same
facts,
creator.
dude. Not even think
See,
about that.
that's where I went when they asked that question. I'm like, no, God made us in His image as human beings, and He made animals separate, like birds and all that stuff. Yeah, we are connected. We have one creator. That's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's like, in order for a living organism to live, they have to have heart. They have to have all these things that we have, just a bit different.
Yeah, no, it's like
it's like-
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not even about like Josh and Alex too, because it's like they almost like kind of like sparked that conversation. Because I was curious. I was like, what are people's worldviews?
They went
like,
by definition.
people-
so, plus,
right.
they're not as educated.
And I started just
as
asking
we are,
people,
type of
like
thing, so-
people around my work, people, just like out and about, like who I just meet, probably meet at work sometimes. Mostly, like I just ask the coworkers, like,
Yeah,
do you think
I mean,
humans are animals?
you asked that
I'm
to
just curious what
teachers
people
too.
think now.
What would do you have? Have you ever been given a reason why animals or humans are animals?
Well, it's just because like the classification, like
Of
science,
the
says so,
heart,
like evolution and stuff like that, like monkeys and I don't know.
that we came from, like
Yeah.
monkeys.
Yeah, that's where it comes from, bro. That we evolved from monkeys and animals were humans at some point, and then magically just changed.
Right.
Yeah, that type. That's the belief, and that's where it comes from.
No,
Yeah.
that's
That's
wild.
just my personal experience from it.
Okay, Jayden, we got the 3 questions we asked our every guest.
All right.
They're different from last time,
Yeah.
and we also have a question from the last guest that we had on.
Cool.
Right?
Cool.
So, first question is, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier in life?
Wish I knew earlier in life. Yeah. Probably like sustainability, just how to go about every day with like the correct mindset and like just
Not just waste time, right?
Yeah,
Stuff, right?
exactly. Like I feel like I had so much free time as a
Right.
kid, and if I could just sustain the mindset of like just
What
kind of
can I
like the
do in
work
those free
ethic.
time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how can I like be productive in this free time? I mean, I feel like I'd be like, I don't want not to tie money into it, but I feel like just with the power of knowledge and the years
Yeah.
that I was there when other people weren't, I'd be so far ahead and
Be in a better
I feel-
position, yeah.
I feel like it would just not only would it create a better me, but it would create foundation around me, and that's when I say money. Like it would just be great. Like I think I'd be above everyone else, which
Yeah.
is not a competition. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Number
healthy
2.
competition.
Yeah, literally anything.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to give one piece of advice to the world, what would it be? I'm gonna ask you this last time, but just answer it again.
It's fine. I don't really remember that, but
Let's see what you say this time, right?
I would say surround yourself with God. And the reason I say, not the only, but the reason I say that is because kind of the conversation we had today, it's so easy to be, selfish and, just find find something to fall back on when like you're wrong or you're being ignorant towards the situation. Like we said earlier, ignorance is bliss. I think if you surround yourself with God and what would Jesus do, then the answer right away. And it is. I think it teaches you like how to not be so selfish, because I learned a little bit within the past 30 minutes. So I think just follow God.
Even the
find
Bible
God.
verse that says that when 2 and more are gathered in my name, I'm there.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
When I'm
it's really true.
2 hours ago, I didn't see the perspective, and now if you just put God first and ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Then you'll probably have that answer just like that.
It's either yes or no.
It's
yeah.
yes or no. There's no middle ground.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to kind of even just make any decision in life. Like it's like, okay, you're sleeping in bed or you want to sleep in, but you have stuff to do. It's like, okay, what would not even just like what would a follower of Christ do? Like, would he get up and follow his purpose, or would he sleep in? And
It also
doze
comes
off?
with morals, right? Like
Yeah,
who you
your
want to be
standards.
as a person. Exactly. Standards. And it's like, it's 7 a.m. and I know I have to get up at 7, but 7:05, it's just 5 minutes away, yo. Like I need that 5 minutes.
That's how
It doesn't even
right.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be at that point. What would Jesus do? But you know, when you put God first, I think the morals come with it. And when you know it's 7 o'clock and I have to get up, get up.
And His Spirit also leads you into the actions
exactly.
of
Yep.
more like Christ.
Hard faith.
The thing is too, it's like being a follower of Christ. It's like there's so many standards. Like there's so much high standards. Like for you as like a follower of Christ, and it's like you're getting crucified yourself out there in like in the real world, pretty much. Like you're literally like, as a follower of Christ, if you try to like follow Him, like you're not conformed to this world at this point. Like you're like the total opposite. Like you're doing things. Like people are wondering what you're doing. People are like, oh, what's your mindset about? Like why are you thinking like this? And you just kind of get like beat up, almost like when Jesus was like walking in the streets with his cross, right? Like people were yelling, shouting.
I love
like
that perspective.
sometimes like that. I feel the same like way with like being a follower of Christ. Like I'm just getting hit from so many different angles about like this person,
It
this
keeps you
person
motivated.
Yeah,
It keeps you really motivated because I feel like
but it's hard too.
Of
Like,
course.
I totally get that.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I feel like if you put God first, then things will come naturally.
Makes your why stronger.
Exactly, and it just it shows you who you truly are as a human being and what you're actually capable of. Because I don't know, it's just for a lot of people, it's so hard. It's so hard, and even just to have. We just had a long conversation on just a small disagreement, and we all believe in truly like in the end we kind of all agree with the same thing. Like imagine people that are just so conflicted and have no fucking clue,
No basis at all, right?
Nothing at all, dude. Like that's scary, and man,
It's like you're right.
You're like
I'm
lost.
also right, and that understanding is scary.
It is. It's
There's
it's
no
like the hard
challenge
truth.
that there's a truth out there that we should all seek.
Exactly.
It's just like you're right. I'm also right.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make sense when there's a contradiction.
No,
you know?
not at all.
You
There's
can't
an
like,
answer
keep
there.
you can't keep living like that because then you could just stretch it out into other things in life. Okay, like oh, this person thinks killing is right, and then I don't think killing is right. It's like,
Are we both right
should
then?
I keep living like that? Should I let him do his thing?
Yep.
It's like, oh, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
It's easier
not
to be
right.
a good person that way. Like if you just go ahead and just
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
put Christ first and
100%.
run it up.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Last question is, or no, the third question is, what is the biggest issue we face as a society, and how can we work to solve it?
The biggest issue as a society, I
You
would
see, yeah.
honestly, and I think it's more like I don't even know.
There's just so many things, right?
There's conflictions like everywhere.
Just say what comes to your mind first. That's usually like
Dude, like
You see a lot of people deal with.
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like
dude, men's loneliness. We talked about that.
well, yeah, I just
mental health. Yeah.
it's I think it could
Or,
be
yeah,
I think it's just like life like really like think about just like the election we just had. You know, the presidency that Trump got elected and the whole entire world, half the world was everybody's just digging down each other's throats for no reason. And at this point, we're put in a position where even if you didn't like this dude, guess what? Now you kind of have to because you don't have a choice. You have to find some good. And I think today it's more of just daily confliction. Like people are constantly just going at each other for beliefs on opinions, and everything's an opinion. Everything's an opinion.
And
Nobody's
then they lose their love towards each other.
exactly. And then everybody around them. Now anybody who follows this opinion is
They separate themselves from each other. It's
exactly.
Like, if I'm
They're-
not a believer, I can't love this guy. But that's so
Exactly.
That's not true. It's like saying Christ can't love those that are sinning. type of
right.
thing.
I think I guess to answer, everybody's opinion based. And I think people need to just relax, fall back on what they know, and acknowledge that there's two sides to the street.
And be
Hear
humble.
both reasons and be humble about it. Understand that, not everything's going to go your way. But at the same time, if you have a good outlook and a positive outlook on it, then the odds of, earning what you essentially put out is going to be much more worth it because you've
sowed a
just-
good seed.
you've been there, done that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love that.
But I just think, opinion
And
based
dude,
people.
unity too. Every time people go against each other with bad heart and bad intention of proving something,
They don't care.
Nobody wins.
Exactly. There's no
Nobody's-
integrity. There's nothing. It's just
There's no love.
let's just beef. Let's argue over an
Yeah.
opinion because I think I'm right and you think you're right.
Ego.
But that's
When
where it
ego
comes
gets
for
in the
leaving
way.
a space for God, because you,
Amen.
I mean, you always need it, and right then and yeah, opinion-based world is what we live in. I think it causes so much conflict for no reason. And I think people should fall back.
Exactly. Because when you
That's a great
think you know
answer.
everything, is that's when you
When
know,
you know
nothing.
nothing. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know
that's when you
nothing.
need to ask God that, hey, I need your understanding because I think the ego's taking over of me
Yeah.
thinking that I'm so right. But in reality, I just need to listen more, open
Right.
up my eyes,
And
and
the
just close my mouth
right.
for a second.
Exactly. The answer is so
And
broad,
really-
but
yeah.
it's very much exactly what you're saying. It's an opinion-based world, and just fall back.
Self-centeredness. Everyone's just so self-centered. Like,
Literally.
they're just
Sometimes
like,
people argue
like, what do
about
I
the
care
think? How am I
care
feeling?
way too much for no reason. It doesn't even have to affect them, and they just care so much. But
And it's the wrong things too.
right,
Sometimes it's
It's things that don't even matter.
The foolish
yeah,
things.
literally something so silly, and it's just
Is strawberry the best fruit? And people debate about that.
Right, for
Is there
an
two
hour and a
genders
half.
or is there more, bro?
Right.
Like, come on. Like,
You
why are
know
we...
this.
like, are we kidding
Why are
me?
we talking about it, right?
right.
Yeah.
Like we can argue because
You know
you
what's
want
crazy?
to, or you can just go talk to somebody else about it.
And there's evidence to that too. Like, is there two genders or five?
Furries, like,
and they
it
still
doesn't make
want
sense.
to argue about
I mean, what did Trump just say? He just made a
It's
pass
officially
to-
two
it's
genders.
there's officially two genders. Like,
Let's go, guys. We're back.
we're
so
back. We're so fucking back, yo. This is crazy. No, I mean, I'm content with the world, bro. I just think people think that giving their opinion is like so like good and gracious, and it's just not. Like, nobody needs to hear what you have to say sometimes.
Give an open mind. There's this one saying. It's first.
sometimes being quiet is the best thing you can do.
Literally.
Okay, it's
Keeps
first
you out
learn.
of shitty situations, and you won't get in trouble.
It's
You will learn more.
It's. I'm trying to cook.
Go ahead, Frick.
It's first learn to understand, then to be understood. Right. It's,
First, learn to understand, then be understood.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. You gotta
First, you
find
gotta just
yourself
understand
before you
what
can.
the heck is going on.
Exactly.
Whose
Who
first is
is
mine.
that? That's tough.
I don't know.
That's mine.
No?
Good job, though. They did a good job.
Whoever said it, right?
Whoever said it, they good. Jane, last
Amen.
question from the previous
Let's get it.
guests.
Yes.
It's like 4 questions, but you can kind of answer in like a broad perspective.
Yeah.
His name is Rios. He said, "Are you doing the inner work? Are you loving yourself? Are you reflecting? And what do you think your purpose is?" So it's like a culmination, but
So I guess let me start with the last. 'Cause I don't know my purpose yet. I don't. I'm not sure what it is. I know I was put on this earth to be a good human being, follow morals, try and be the best person that I could possibly be, and I'm pretty sure that I'm on the right track to doing that. Obviously, nobody's perfect, so we all got to
Exactly.
figure it out. But with like my inner self, I think I found the gym. If I have an issue or a problem, instead of taking it out on myself in a harsh way or a bad way or going to somebody else and arguing, I go to the gym. I found
Lift the weights.
you take it out on that. You take it out on the weights. Something that's actually benefiting you too. I only really like to do things that benefit me when negative shit happens. And yeah, I think like I said, I'm not really sure my purpose, but I know for a fact.
well, the question
that,
is like, what do you think your purpose is? Like, have any idea?
What did God put you on this earth for, man?
Oh, I know that it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know. I don't know yet.
That's fine.
I can't lie and say that I have an answer, and I don't know what God's purpose is for me yet.
I feel like we seek for God's purpose.
I think that's the
everyday
reason that
life,
we were
and
put
that's
on
that
this
what
earth
makes beauty,
to
yeah.
find out why we're here. I'm not sure. I know that I've been, blessed with good customer service. I've been blessed with, good morals. I've been blessed with like good family, healthy life.
Honesty.
I have a
that you
great honesty, and I don't know. I don't know yet why I was put on this earth, but I know for a fact that I will be useful, and in 10 years I will be a billionaire. Straight up. Nah, billion's crazy, but millionaire.
God's willing, right?
God willing, I'll be a millionaire in
Clip
the next
'em.
decade. Straight up. No, but yeah.
No, I got it. That's great. Like, are you loving yourself? Are you doing the inner work?
Yeah, I mean, I have. There's some more to do. There's some more to do.
It's always more to do.
There's always more work.
This mind is infinite, man.
Yep. Got to cook it up in the lab a little bit, but
in the garden, planting them seeds, baby.
Sure. But with like my diet, like I should eat cleaner. Still got a little bit of fat on my stomach that I want to lose, like little things like that. But I love myself. I don't have an issue with anything that I do. One thing that I wish I I'd like stop doing a little bit was, like bad language. Like I feel like I like curse here and there, and like I don't intend to or mean to or like to. It's just like I think it's more my personality. So if I could like
it's like a filler word. So
like if I could change one thing, like I would like to stop like using like profanity. But other than that, I love myself. I love everything that I do. I'm blessed. There's little things that I need to fix up, and
amen.
Then I'll be able to walk clean. You know what I mean?
Amen. Yeah,
that's great. And the last thing is the question for the next guest. You want to leave them with an open-ended question, something deep?
I'm going to touch back on what I said earlier. If money was not involved, if money was not in the picture, if money was not a factor, what would you choose to do for the rest of your life to find happiness?
Wait, did he ask that when he was on last time? I remember something
I don't
like
know.
that. Probably not.
We're in a new season. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're in a new season, so.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
What would you do for the rest of your life if you had to work?
Like, sure, just to find happiness.
Money wasn't a thing.
If money wasn't a factor, what would you do for the rest of your life to find happiness?
Okay.
Because I'm telling you right now, you can literally make money through everything, and you can make a business out of anything. So if you find a passion, I'm telling you right now, what's worse than failing? Not trying. You have to try. You have to try it in order to fail. I mean, the most successful businesses are the businesses that are already made. You just updated and renovated the shit out of them. So just like that, I mean, but correct. If money was not a factor, what would you do for the rest of your life to find happiness, to, just
Fulfill
build you
your
up,
life.
fulfill you? Exactly. 100%.
It's great. Good question.
It's a good
Yeah,
question.
man.
It's really gonna make somebody think. And
Yeah.
to be honest,
I had me thinking.
The
This
answer-
is really great.
But it could be anything. Like
conversation.
it could literally be, sports. Like I want to play sports, but I know I'm not going to make money playing sports. Why don't you try? Work your fucking ass off. Work your tail off for the next 5 years and see if you make the league. You never know. You don't know. I mean, I didn't try, so
as
I
long
don't
as
know.
there's passion.
If you have
and
passion,
there's
you
heart-
strive. Then I'm telling you right now, you don't know what you can. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So
That's
just
true.
strive to be the greatest version of yourself.
Yeah.
Quote of the day.
I forgot
As
we
you
had
know,
this.
We
Yeah.
have our guest share quote of the day.
Cool.
So lead on.
All right, let me see. All right, quote of the day. He said to them, "Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance." Oh, is it C? My fault.
It does look like a U.
Does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. Luke 12:15.
It's a Bible verse. Yeah.
It's solid.
It is really tying back to the whole conversation that we had.
Exactly.
So it's amazing. Shout
Great
out on
verse.
YouTube. Mike, will you
Shout
do it?
out James Pear. No, it's up there. James Pierce Locksmith 8275. Wow, it's
These
a great
names.
name. He said, "I think there's a lot of male loneliness. Men need to connect with each other. Look at the disciples. Jesus always sent them out 2 by 2. Men often think that their net worth is connected to their self-worth. So if they're not successful, they isolate themselves, mostly because of pride." Thank you, James. And I think it's so true when it comes
Thank
to...
you, James. Appreciate that.
I think the whole self-worth thing as well, it's like, if you're not at this thing, like you're a piece of shit. Like you're not
100%.
worth anything. Like if you don't have $1 million, like at 20 years old, like there's something wrong with you. Like there's something wrong with you, right?
It's funny too, because
But it's also like these
Talked
standards are
about that.
really good as well, but there's like a fine line between you just like, you're being unrealistic, you're not valuing yourself and being what you're capable of, and versus
And you're not having
The
a
other
healthy
side.
understanding on where the value actually comes from.
Right. Ooh.
Value comes from God
yeah,
and
not from the points in your
not
bank
from
account.
what you make or what it is that you possess, but who you are is you're made in the image of God. As
Yeah.
perfect as He created you. So
Thank you, James.
it's like when you and I like how he said Jesus would always send his disciples 2 by 2, and that's actually so true. He never like told them to go alone somewhere. Like it was always together. And that's what I'm saying. There's
But I'm
something
Batman.
with the later verse which is shared, like every time there's 2 in my name, there I am. So when you connect the verses together and stuff, you really get such an amazing idea on why Jesus did the things that he did, and why in the whole Bible things are just going the way they are. Just all ties back together. It's amazing.
Let's go.
Unity, yup.
Let's go.
Sir, amen.
Yep.
Amen.
Thank you for the.
Thank you again for coming on, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
This is a really long podcast. It was really good.
This was great. I mean, I know last time we were a little bit more specific on exactly what we were going to talk about, and we had some topics today, but I'm happy to just shoot the shit. Like,
Yeah.
just
that was really
be able
good.
to talk and, just understand, opinions, values, morals, and, it's great to hear outside perspective, especially because we all don't hang out every day.
Yeah, right.
We
So
we
we
don't
have a
know
lot
what
to
we're
talk.
right. We don't know what we're doing every day, and we just we'll talk here and there. Maybe see
we
each other
definitely
at
should.
church, but 100%.
Yeah.
We'll definitely hang out, and I appreciate being on here and just being able to just knock it out. You know what I mean?
Do you want to plug in your social medias, your stuff, your website?
Yeah,
for
so,
the people to find you.
I'm pretty much
beep.
I'm pretty much just Jayden JAYDN.fig FIG on mainly everything, TikTok, Instagram, etc. Feel free to give me a follow, check me out. Like
What you post? What do you post?
Just motivational content. I stopped for a little bit. I shouldn't have, but I will be back on the grind. Just trying to post every day, stay consistent, be motivational. Post a little bit of gym content, a little David Goggins in there. just try to motivate. Trying to spread a little bit of awareness to show exactly, just to be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, or just to be here to for you as that one person that you might not think you have. Just know that there's somebody out there for you. There's somebody out there that cares about you, that wants to see you strive to be the greatest version of yourself. And if nobody else is going to be there for you, just know I will. So feel free to check me out. And yeah,
Great, man.
Amen.
amen, guys.
Thank you, Jay. You know our saying, our endings.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Think big, grow big. Let's go.
Yeah, that's dope. Awesome. Let's go. You got it.